Good evening, Holliston. Welcome to the Select Board meeting this evening on April 6th, 2026. It is 7:02 p.m. We've got a very busy, action-packed agenda today. We actually have a full room, which I'm sure will change very quickly as things move along. So first things first, we actually have a public hearing to start things off, a Constitution Village Road acceptance. So we're going to get moving on that first, and then we'll get started on the items on our agenda. So if I could have the clerk read the notice for the public hearing.
Okay, apologies for the froggy voice here. Notice is hereby given that the Select Board of the Town of Holliston will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. on Monday, April 6, 2026 in the Select Board Meetings Room, Room 105 at Holliston Town Hall, 703 Washington Street, Holliston, Mass. For the purpose of considering the proposed acceptance of Old Cart Path, Station 0 plus 00, 232 plus 00, Pout Lane, Governor Prent's Way, Hiawatha Trail, and Minuteman Circle as shown on the plans entitled Layout Plan, Old Cart Path, and Pout Lane, Holliston, Mass. Dated January 21st, 2025, prepared by Guerre and Halnan Incorporated, Engineering and Land Surveying for the owner, Constitution Village LLC, and Layout Plan, Governance Prent's Way, Hiawatha Trail, and Minuteman Circle, Holliston, Mass. Dated March 3rd, 2023, and revised August 21st, 2023, prepared by Guerre and Hanlon Incorporated, Engineering and Land Surveying for owner and applicant, Constitution Village LLC. Said plans being on file with the town clerk, such ways having laid, such ways having laid are as town ways by the Select Board, and future to authorize the Select Board to accept deeds for such ways along with associated drainage and utility easements as may be shown on such plan or take any action relative thereto. Motion to open the public hearing at 7:04.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 So just quickly, I mean, the clerk read kind of what it is. Do we have like a map that we could just bring up quick so people know kind of what we're talking about, and then we can see if anyone has any comments about it. So this is just the this process, as the town manager brings this up, is kind of a check in a box that we have to do. We have to have a public hearing in order to go through a road acceptance process, and so this is just this part of the process. The planning boards had previously done their public hearing November, so their part of the process is completed. We have to have our public hearing for the Select Board, and then it goes to town meeting for a vote.
You're doing an excellent job stalling for me.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, you're good. There are 63 pages in this.
This document. Even just like, it was just sort of a map to give sort of an overview. Obviously, we don't need to go through 63 pages.
Yep. And here it is.
Wonderful. There we go.
And that's just my email.
Oh, is it sharing the wrong window?
This time? There we go.
Great, excellent. So this is the area. It's up off 126, getting close to Ashland, and we've accepted a couple of the other roads. This is another part of the development that we're discussing as part of this hearing process. Before I open it up to any public comments or anything like that, does anybody in the Select Board have any comments about this? Frank, do you have any comments you want to make?
No.
Okay. All right. We can take it down for now. But is there anyone in the room who'd like to make any comments about the public hearing for Constitution Village Road acceptance this evening? Don't all get up at once. All right. If we could just take it down so we could see the the participants, so we can see, it's a little easier to see hands up when that happens. Is there anyone on the Zoom this evening who would like to make a comment or have a question about the public hearing for the Constitution Village Road acceptance?
You may have public comment in the folder.
Okay.
No, we do not.
All right, I don't hear anyone this evening. I don't think we have really any other comments this evening. I think it's pretty straightforward. Road acceptances are usually pretty straightforward, so I think since I'm not hearing anything at this time, I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And thank you. Apologies if we missed you, but this will be coming forward at the town meeting to be held in May, and as the next step in the process for road acceptance for Constitution Village. So, thank you for your patience with that. 4 minutes, not bad. Next up, I think we can move ahead with, I know there's lots of friends from the schools. If they'd like to come on up and join us, we could have them. We could get started on that part of the conversations. Whoever wants to come up, we can.
You need another chair?
Yeah, whatever you guys need for shares. Just make sure you're near a microphone when you're talking so everybody can hear you. Let's just sit down. We'll just have everybody introduce themselves because on Zoom you have your backs to the audience. So just want to make sure everybody knows who's here.
Are you on as Dan Alfred?
No, Damon.
I can't see the screen.
Both are very good-looking gentlemen.
Yes.
Daniel.
Wow.
And happy belated birthday, Dan.
Oh, hey. And actually Frank, too.
Oh, Frank.
They share birthday.
Wow.
A few years apart.
Okay. I won't guess who's older.
Yeah.
So if you could just identify yourselves, like I said, your backs are to the audience on Zoom, just so everybody knows who's here at the table with us. That'd be great.
Dan Alfred.
Dawn Naborski.
Frank O'Gore.
Sarah Fitzgerald.
And do you have anybody on?
We have Dr. Kuska.
And Dr. Kuska is here.
And I believe
Good evening, Dr.
Jordan
Kuska.
had
Yes.
something come up, so.
That should be fine.
Can we allow Daniel Alfred on Zoom to have sharing rights, please?
I do, okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I thought, so here's how I was thinking about it, and is we could start with a conversation about the school building committee to start,
Sure.
and then we could go to town meeting stuff, the capital requests and the feasibility. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. So for the SBC, the school building committee, I know Frank, you and Tina had been meeting, and thank you for all the work.
Hillary
you-
too. She's been
Hillary,
awesome.
and I know Hillary. Hillary does a lot of things.
Yeah. A lot of interviews.
So thanks to Hillary, who's not here. But just thank you for the work you all put forward in this process. And I know we had seen some of the documentation about what's being proposed and things like that, and just want to make sure everybody has seen it and has had a chance to review it and things like that. And before we get started, we can just sort of say, like, Frank, you and Tina, if you have any comments or you want to kind of tee it up, like what are you proposing, like what are we talking about this evening, just sort of have a little bit of context that we can have
Yeah.
to work from.
Tina, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. So we met on Wednesday of last week. This is our third meeting. They've been very productive. We came away from that meeting with 3 documents that were shared with my board, and Frank, I believe you
I
passed
shared
them
with
on to
Sarah.
the school committee. Oh, through Sarah.
Yeah.
Number 1 was the charge, which we based off of a draft template language that was prepared and shared with us by town council, very simple. The second was the designation for the school building committee itself, hearing the request of the school committee for 2 at-large appointments, as well as not statutory, but a standard expectation that a school committee member would be one of the appointments. So 3 appointments made by the school committee, 2 that we would give designating authority for, and 1 that they would assume have already, and that the select board would have 4 at-large positions as well. So, and then the mandatory requirements, which include one schools committee member, one select board, town manager, and so on. The list is there. That was the second document. The third document was a memorandum of understanding that would not be binding, but would set up in place for the length of the school building committee, how the two boards would operate in terms of reporting status, and so on. That was something that I think probably needed the most review, because it
Yeah.
was the newest of the three documents, so we may want some feedback. We will want some feedback from the school committee on how they viewed that MOU. I don't think we're prepared to vote on that tonight. From my perspective, I would say we're probably closest to a vote on the membership
Yeah.
of the school building committee.
Okay.
The charge, again, is simple, so we'd be looking to not, I would say, board's not looking to add language, but we have not heard from the school committee on that opinion, so we could be close to a vote on the charge as well.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have a discussion this Thursday in our full committee for all three of those. I agree with you on membership. We did receive some information back from the MSBA today, that I received at least. Sarah, I think you were on it as well, that all statutory roles are needed, but you can have one person serve multiple roles. So the statutory roles, we can't eliminate or change them, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So they just want you to outline who's doing what role, even if there's duplication. So like the representative by law role that we were questioning.
Yes, yep.
Will likely we could use the school committee or the select board as a representative of law, but someone needs to be named in that position. Otherwise, I agree with you, Tina, really good progress on the membership. I think that's key. Tied with the charge, perspective on the charge, I think it is a little more open-ended right now.
Okay.
Just so we don't confine too much, but make sure the rules of the road are set. The only thing on the MOU, I think we discussed, Tina, is potentially, do we wait till school building committee is created, so it's really between the three of us? So instead of just being between school committee and select board, school building committee, which we had somewhat joked, like, because they don't exist, it's hard to identify, okay, what role they play and how we'll work all three together, but having them included on that as well.
Okay, do you think you would reply with some draft edits?
Yeah. From the
Okay.
school committee perspective, and then
Yeah.
I think we can vote, but then also understand,
Yeah.
let's say the school building committee, once they're established, to also weigh in.
Okay. You're just talking about on the MOU?
Yes,
Like
the MOU
that-
piece,
yes.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So if we could just sort of walk through, put Frank on the spot here again. For the, yeah, you Frank. We have the computer. So just like to quickly go through the charge and then the composition that we're talking about, if we can do that. My expectation is that, you know, I would want all of us to agree to that. I don't want everybody walking away from this a little unsure, uncertain about this. And looking to, you know, if we can't vote for it tonight, that the expectation would be next Monday that we would, and we would be able to have this buttoned up and move on at that point. But I also want to make sure that, you know, Sarah and I had this discussion earlier today, just like to make sure that everybody on both of our boards is in support of what's going on and understands and feels comfortable doing that before we said yes. And then if we needed a little more time to get some questions answered or for some comfort that they wanted to sit with it, they would have a couple days to be able to get that accomplished, so that way it could be finished by Monday. But so this is the proposal from, probably want to zoom in a little bit.
Real high level, green is non-voting.
Okay.
Is that statutory? Just that town employees are not able to be voting members?
Best practice, I think, is how you described it, Frank, as opposed to by law or bylaw, but
Okay.
best practice.
Just didn't see other towns that did it that way, but.
So we've got a select board member, the MCPPO certified. We have the town manager, a principal, the superintendent, and we could certainly, like that representative of Office of Law.
Yeah, the only changing factor then there's, here we're assuming they're non-voting, but if it is a select board or school committee member, then it would become voting. So that changes a bit of how we were thinking around having 5 voting members.
Okay,
Because that would make it 6.
that would make it 6 voting members. Okay.
You had
Well-
7 voting members on here already.
I think,
I think you would have seven, because
7.
you'd have a select board member,
Yeah.
3 school committee members, and then 3 select board, 3 school committee
Yep. 4.
appointees, a select board member, and then
Plus the
3 select board.
representative or-
who would wear double hats? It would
Would
be
wear
the
2
same
hats.
Yeah,
select
yeah,
board
okay.
member.
So there would be 7.
Got it.
That sounds like it would be 7
Yeah, yeah.
people.
That would be sufficient.
And has everybody had a chance to kind of review this and take a look at what this?
The only thing to note from the schools, that's, in terms of the criteria, we're still working through that. It's just ideas we put out thus far, so I wouldn't say we're locked in.
Okay.
But ideas of which we're thinking, to make sure we don't overlap too with select board, make sure we have a diverse pool.
Okay.
So that may change slightly, in terms of the first and the third one with the schools, but
But we could
I-
say, but we, like, if, I guess we could have 2 options here. You could take the time on Thursday to iron that out, or we could vote pending your decision.
yeah,
if the people
that's
are
totally fine.
comfortable
I think
with
it's just gonna be
either one of those.
criteria which we search for delegate there. It won't change materially in terms of the count, or obviously even Sarah looked at a team here, like,
Okay.
it's high level.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. That's fine.
There's one potential edit there, so if you scroll down to, hold on. Well, one thing it's not an edit, as much as I would call out that the select board is making the appointment on the school principal, the school superintendent.
Okay.
It doesn't seem significant, but I just wanted to pull that out, that in terms of the vote before this board designating appointing authority, it would be for the 3 orange
Okay.
lines there, the school committee member themselves, and then the 2 resident at large as described.
My only suggestion would be sort of, and I think you might want to talk to Liz about this specifically, but if we're going to create the building committee before we appoint the at-large members, which I think we should do, I don't think we want to create those spots until you have those people, so you appoint the select board member and the school committee member. Maybe
And then
one
2
more.
at-large spots as defined by the boards?
Well, then all the other non-voting members. But you don't want to create a quorum of 7 on a board that you only have 2 people identified as voting members who can meet that quorum before you have everyone meet. So if you just essentially appointed and then did sort of pending the appointment of these people, they become members and add to the quorum, you could then have either a quorum of 2, or you could say a quorum of 3, and the 2 would then meet the 3, so that the school building committee could actually meet while working on getting those at-large members.
We'd have to check with Liz about that kind of, I kind of hear what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying, like, basically, if we don't have those members, we could theoretically say it's a building committee of 3,
2 or 3. Yeah,
2 or 3.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather just do it once and sort of say, like, here's the building committee with the full, like, there's 3 members to be appointed by the school committee, 3 members to be appointed by the select board, and then the statutory roles that are.
Well, you probably have one vote with the motion being that as appointed and sworn in, those people then get added to the size of the committee to increase the size and therefore the quorum.
We have time on our side in that this designation list is approved by the MSBA no earlier than June 1st.
And actually, no, the legal on their side will not review it until June 1st. So,
So even if we did seat it and
Yeah.
did everything, it still wouldn't legally be the.
correct. Now,
That.
It could still be a
committee.
standing committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they could still, like, get the administrative tasks accomplished. They
Just
just
not
wouldn't
officially
be, they
a-
just wouldn't be the official group until June 1st.
which it's a fine line, because MSBA has been pushing us across this process to get ahead of it.
But
So,
not, but.
But not officially, right?
Right.
So, I do think we still should show, like, we've got our ducks in a row. And then,
Sure.
yes, we got the note today from David via Julia. June 1st is when the council on their side is activated to review. So if we have that ready for them to review on June 1st, that's the expectation.
And the timeline that we're tracking most pragmatically is the office hours that you want to
Yes.
hold and we want to hold both at the library, Rushford and Sons.
Yeah, we're gonna
and
host
then
at Rushford
COA.
at least, probably one other, Zoom and the center,
Okay.
which we could talk about tonight as well.
Okay, and then also having the ability to accept statements of interest when we go to town meeting, so that it can be shared in the presentation to town
Yes.
meeting. Okay, so I think that's, if I'm, from
Yeah.
where I sit, that's the timeline we're tracking, more so than June 1st, but in any event, I think there's time.
Yes, there is some time to figure out. But it sounds like there still are we need to get a couple things ironed out before we can vote on this, it sounds like. Like, to Dan's point, like, what does that look like administratively? Can we do that? And we want to make sure that we set it up in the right way if we're going to do that. And then I'd rather,
If it doesn't count until, June 1st to begin with, then I guess in theory, you could vote to create a working group school, I don't know, I mean, that
This
in
would be
theory
the
doesn't need a
nomina-
quorum
I mean,
and
it would be
doesn't.
the nomination.
What's that?
It would be like, basically, like, these are the folks
Yeah.
that would make it up, but wouldn't be official until it must be.
I just don't want to rush the process of finding the ad hoc members, I want to think about this thoughtfully.
of course, and we want to give it a little bit of space, but I mean, I don't know, I think, we want to make sure that we're, like, what exactly are we voting on is kind of what we're not, I don't think is certain right now, like, in terms of this, like, what is that?
Well, I see one edit here. We'll remove the strike through on the representative of office authorized by law to construct a school building,
Yeah.
buildings based on the feedback Frank received from the MSBA. So that seems like a necessary change to what we
Yes.
have on the screen here. It does not change the odd number of voting members because it would be a duplicate hat that person is wearing from I would say select board, but I think that's the open conversation
Yeah.
here, is it a select board member or a school committee member?
It doesn't materially impact anything, it's just sort of which hat,
Yeah.
who's gonna wear the hat, it's
Mhm.
really.
Who wants more work?
We could vote on what we have in front of us with that change made. And we could decide today if that's gonna be a select board or a school committee member. Or we could wait for the school committee to discuss at your meeting on the 10th.
What do you guys wanna
And
do?
do this on the 13th.
What do you wanna do?
If you guys want to vote today, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay voting
Yeah.
with
Okay.
the edit that you proposed.
Okay, so it'll be a select board member or a school committee member who is the representative office authorized by law to construct school buildings. I would say select board.
We have finally found something that I literally have no opinion on.
What?
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, okay. Wow.
It's 7:25 PM on April 6th.
Okay.
Why don't we just make it a select board member?
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
just move on, because otherwise we'll be here, we could equivocate all night. And it doesn't change anything.
And one other change, I didn't want to, I know Dr. Jordan's not here, but in reviewing this with him.
Yep.
He would likely be a valuable member of this board, so having
Yes.
him as the local official for building maintenance, because I know we have an or there.
Yes, well, and we already have James Keast on the board,
Yes.
so he's already there
Yeah.
in another capacity, so I think that having,
Okay.
definitely want him there as well. So I'm fine with that, since,
Yep.
Have all these people agreed to be on the committee, too? Can we ask James?
It's a good
Well,
place, good time to ask.
but I mean, the thing is this is a long process, and there is likely going to be change, like,
Yep.
somebody will change, people will move
Right.
away from a position, so those kinds of things are going to likely
Yep.
happen over time.
Not for today, the only thing I would ask, and I think this would really be up to the school building committee, but 2 to 4, or I guess 4 residents is not a lot of sort of input from the community, so I would
Yeah.
ask the school building committee to strongly consider forming ad hoc advisory committees where they can bring in
Sure.
more people who can have real buy-in to the process and
Yeah.
involvement, but are not like voting members on the official committee that makes those.
Sure, and I think that's a reasonable thing. You can certainly with different capacities, because there's a level of complexity that, you can bring in different people for
It's
different.
impossible. Dan, we just, as we
Yeah.
did talk about in the working group, like how the school building committee will be responsible, I guess, not directed, but responsible for communicating with all other committees, not just committees, but advisory groups in town to get feedback.
There's just a little ton of knowledge in town and
Yeah.
a ton of people that can add a lot of value, and
Yes.
we want to make sure we include whoever
All the
wants to be
different
involved in some way.
perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Agreed. No, I think that's reasonable, and I think the school building committee can do that. Any other comments or thoughts about this Is everybody comfortable with this
Yeah.
and moving ahead with
Yeah.
this?
Mhm.
Yeah?
So I
Dave?
propose two motions. One is to vote the 14-member designation as amended here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second is to designate appointing authority of three positions to the three members to the school committee.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with, I think that's fine to do that. So why don't we, we don't have to worry too much about making it like a perfect motion, because we'll probably likely go through the MSBA and probably have to
Yeah.
redo this in some capacity, but at least we've kind of gotten ahead of things. All right, why don't we
Move to
start?
accept then?
Yeah, move
Okay.
to accept the proposed.
Okay, move to accept the proposed member designation of the school building committee with 11 select board appointments and to be authorized 3 school committee appointments in the following motion as presented here.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
And so we're good there, so we've done that.
Thank you.
And then we've got 2 other things to do here, but the first is we can designate the school committee the ability to appoint
Yep.
3 members as presented.
Okay, move to authorize designating the school committee with 3 appointments, 2 resident at large and 1 school committee member.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay, so we've taken care of that. Do we want to vote on the charge, or do you guys want to talk about that first before we?
I think we need to talk about
Yeah.
it a
Okay.
little more, yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing about this is that I think what I'd like to ask is that the town manager and the assistant superintendent issue a press release to the community. Once you guys sort of are official with what those members are from your side of things. And I would ask if we could just basically have everybody who sends in letters of interest, send it just to the town manager's office, just to make it easy. Then and the town manager's office can then share it with this.
If anyone does send it to us, we will forward it.
Yeah, like just so that there's one central place where we're getting all this information and then bringing them all forward and handling them. And then, as they come forward, we can figure out how to, put the people in the right places and things like that. And I think there was one other thing you guys were talking about.
Yeah, so when we
from the working
talked
group.
about how to receive those letters of interest and how to review, I guess we got a little high on ourselves and said, hey, well, the working group can be the ones that screen those letters of interest. In that conversation, what we discussed was that the working group, Hillary, Frank, and myself, would just continue on to screen all of the letters of interest that come in through the town manager's office. And as a group, we would create slates of candidates, slates that Frank and Hillary would bring back to the school committee for your consideration to appoint, and a slate that I would bring back to the select board
Okay.
for us to consider it. But the 3 of us would go through those statements of interest, those letters of interest rather, and create those slates.
And then
Plenty of
what's-
room for feedback,
Yeah.
Yeah.
back and forth, but that would be the initial process for reviewing the letters of
And
interest.
then eventually what would happen is that the working group would be dissolved
Yeah.
once the school building committee is official, and then they would handle
Yep.
new applicants for that and create and be part of that process. So the working group wouldn't have to do that in perpetuity. It would just be until the school building committee was
To be clear
seated.
on that point, the designation is for the vote to become a member is for the length of the school building committee. So it would be in the hopefully unlikely case
there
that
needs to be a
somebody
change.
leaves out of
Yeah.
town or is no longer on the board that they're serving.
Generally, what we do, like for most boards, is that it's a year-long appointment. That's how,
Not this one.
and,
Yeah.
and if it needs to be longer, that's fine, but people need to be, the people will likely resign. People will likely
Yeah.
walk away, and we need to give them that
I
flexibility.
think we just need to be clear in the press release when we put out
Yeah.
like, what this means, right?
Yeah.
So,
The expectation is you will serve for the
Importance.
duration, and,
Yes.
please don't apply if you only can serve for 6 months,
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's reasonable.
Frequent meetings, long meetings,
Probably.
detailed meetings.
Probably, yes.
100
But they
pages.
get to decide when and where they want to do those things as a committee. Any other thoughts about this before we move on? Okay. So once you guys decide on those, how you want those members to be, we just make sure we tell, Frank and Dave, and we get a press release out there, we can start to solicit for applications and things like that, and start to put together people to be on that committee.
I've had some people reach out already. Should I just forward those on to you or have them go through?
I mean, you know, I think because the expectation is they're gonna serve particular roles,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
and if there's just like an at-large blank,
Mhm.
that's one thing, but if it's going to be specific to a role, I think we'd want them to sort of say like, you know, this is my experience that fits that role.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that they should sort of be a little bit more formal, because I think, you know, we do wanna make sure to the point of, this is a long process, and we're looking for very particular kinds of people who have certain kinds of expertise. There will be plenty of opportunities for community engagement, but we don't want to put someone in a position that they're not
Yep.
able to serve in that way.
And I think by Thursday, we can align on the criteria so that that can become
Yeah.
in the release what type of candidates we're looking for.
And then just review the charge, and then we can,
Yep.
you know, we can amend that and take care of that. And then the MOU will be something that the SBC handles on when they are seated
Yeah.
and moving along.
Which I think we can vote on ours, but then also
Yeah.
know, like, it's a living document.
Yeah, you
so-
get, you get a preliminary
Yeah.
document, and then they can kind of finalize it and figure it out, so, okay. Excellent, okay. Moving on, and I think this is where you come in, because you're gonna talk about capital?
If it pleases the chair.
Of course, that's why I'm asking. If we
Oh,
could-
sharing is not turned on, so requested.
Oh, it's not me, sorry. That's why, I thought you said before it was already done.
Well, because I had the icon.
Oh, okay, all
Now
right.
you don't.
No, I,
Can we-
well, no, I had the icon, it just says, I had to send in a request.
Turn on sharing for Dan Alford, please.
So what we're moving on to now is the warrant articles and the capital requests from the schools.
Thank you.
This is 1BI on the agenda.
Yes, that is correct. And also, just sort of to mention, reiterate, I talked to Sarah about giving you the opportunity to make sure you had a chance to speak, whoever it is. Of course, Frank wrote it that Sarah was going to do it. I said, I don't know if Sarah wants to do it, so I don't want to put her on the spot like that. But just, you know, whoever you decide, you know, you have a lot of stuff going on, just having, you'd be able to have an opportunity to speak to town meeting. I
Oh,
think would
actually,
be-
I know, sorry, I thought you meant right now talking about the capital. stuff.
No, I meant, I
Yes,
didn't want to, I would
yes.
never,
No,
it's up to
yeah.
you. It's up to you and your committee
Yes,
to
we'll
decide.
figure that out. It might be-
Exactly.
I think we can keep it at 30, 45 minutes.
30, 45 minutes?
30 to 45 minutes, yeah.
Very reasonable.
We're already planning to go 2 nights anyway, so.
Yeah, we can do it.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Might be.
Just
So,
kidding, just
okay.
kidding.
Okay, so
You have
so
the
we
floor.
began talking about this with the Finance Committee budget, Finance Committee Capital Subcommittee. So a lot of people know about this, but we'll just go through these quickly. There is a more detailed deck that Dr. Kuska and Dr. Jordan put together, given your schedule, given your,
Much appreciated.
we'll give you the high level, and Dr. Kuska's here to answer any questions you have. But our capital request is for $740,000, including $275,000 for ELA curriculum K through 5, $150,000 for pre-K through 2 and 6 through 8 science, $100,000 for Holliston, the high school supplies and stuff to help implement the new schedule, $65,000 to replace our maintenance director's truck that has a lot of duct tape, and then $150,000 for technology infrastructure. So just a couple notes: the $275,000 for the ELA curriculum is matched with a $224,000 grant that Dr. Bernard, our assistant superintendent of curriculum, was able to win for the district, or be granted for the district, and they're tied together. So if we don't do that capital, we could lose that, and then there's a subsequent grant that we're applying to that would also sort of kind of be part of that. So there's money behind that. Let's see, and then with the technology infrastructure, it's actually about a $250,000 purchase, and then we have an E-rate of 40% to knock it down to about $150,000. And so we're just asking for 150. We don't need the 240 and then giving back and all that. We do recognize that obviously this is significant and that there are a ton of capital needs around town. And so, I think that what we haven't discussed as a committee, we have, some ability to look for savings or additional sort of monies to turn back to the town. We can certainly work with you on that. It is not in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but, it's going to be, it could certainly reduce this by some.
Okay.
some amount. And
Okay.
I know that Dr. Jordan and Mr. Fascio are in communication about different ideas, different things. So, yeah. So that's where we are.
Okay. Okay. I'll see if my board has any questions. Tina, do you have any questions?
No, I think what I hear is these aren't final numbers, but there'll be work done over the coming weeks to refine the numbers.
This is the official request of the school committee as it currently stands. I mean, we are, willing to, of course, work with the town and the board, especially in how we can fund the feasibility study.
Yes.
But this right now is our official request.
Okay. Okay. You have any questions here?
I don't want to go too deep down this road, but when you're talking about potentially savings, what order of magnitude is realistic if we go down that road? Like you said, not hundreds of thousands of dollars, which I accept,
Yeah.
but is it like, are we cutting really close to bone there? Is it the kind of thing where you want to avoid that conversation if at all possible? Or are there places that we could still inspect?
I think through a couple of different sources and moving pieces around, $100-ish, $100-ish,
No, no.
somewhere. I mean,
A whole
again, we
hundred.
haven't discussed it as a committee. This is just kind of, so there's been, but in my mind,
Slip.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's all. Thank you.
Because I mean, I think, because as we have this conversation about these, the big ask is the feasibility study. And what people are saying is, and so I have to kind of bring the two kind of together to have the conversation here. Because, the question becomes, a lot of people have sharpened pencils on with the select board. We've cut back about $400,000 in requests. We have $1 million that we're turning back from the Woodland Street project back to capital, and a few other sources to get to a little over 1.9 million-ish. So then the 2 points there really is that, is 2.5 the right number for the feasibility study? And then, is there any flexibility in any of these things to get us closer to that 2.5? Because we don't have, we've found a lot of things, and we're just wondering from your side if there's, warrant articles you can turn back, if there's any of these requests that we can talk about or push off till October to try to get us closer. And I understand you haven't had this conversation as a committee, I recognize that. But, if 2.5 is the right number, we have a gap, and we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, so we don't know
Where's that
what
gap?
exactly the right number, the number will be.
There's the right.
We do know that the numbers seem to be getting higher, and that there are a few districts that have gone for $3 million recently, whereas I remember when we first started talking about this 7 years ago, I mean, it was like, $500,000 to $1 million for,
Yes.
it just keeps kind of going along with obviously all the other
we
things.
get
So,
that, yeah.
I know that, Dr. Jordan, Mr. Fascio, and Mr. Geist, have gotten together and seem to have agreed on the 2.5. So I wouldn't want to change that.
So that has not been presented to the board, a $2.5 million agreement, in terms of our budget, our warrant article, our warrant preparation. You've not presented to the select board, or am I not recalling, an approved or agreed upon number of 2.5?
So in the draft warrant, we have the $2.5 million
As a placeholder.
figure as the placeholder.
But not based on comps or quotes?
That is the number that's just been requested by the.
But based on comps, not
It-
quotes, we
there's-
don't
Yeah.
have quotes. And not to get Frank into trouble, I mean, by
Oh, no,
agreement,
no trouble.
simply mean those three, town employees who were the,
Right.
most knowledgeable on these type of things, got
Yeah.
together and made that recommendation to the board. That's obviously not like,
Yeah, I mean, I was presented with a list of several feasibility studies over the past couple of years, and it's hard because school size, we're talking about 800 students, like when people want to, like Lexington is not a comp with 2,400 students, and I think they had a $10 million request because they included the.
and just to be clear, their
The
$660 million high school is
it-
also not a comp.
Of course not.
So-
Of course not. No. But I mean, I'm saying it's difficult because it's it's difficult to find like the right ones. But the
It's-
ones that I was looking at, you know, when I take like the average of those, it was like 1.8 million. If I tried by pupil, I was getting to 1.92 million-ish. And I mean, I'm not, this is me doing back of the envelope math. And so, you know, no one's, I mean, I don't know what the right number is, and I don't know how to get to the right number. So I'm sort of saying like, this is how I'm getting there.
It doesn't appear to be a rhyme or
Correct me.
reason. I've
Right,
seen
and,
a
and
2.2.
find, you know, if there is a different way that I can think about this, please share it with me. But, you know, the 2.5, I'm sort of like, it seems aggressive, and I'm wondering if there's latitude, if there's a little bit of space there.
There's-
May I jump
Yeah,
in?
yes.
So my comment to Frank was not in any way to question the process, it's to understand the process. So I'm not hearing that there's been an analysis of the correct, right number to bring forward. Where we are at $1.9 million for a feasibility study from maneuvers made on the town's part to return money from prior town meeting approvals, $1 million for the Woodland Street project, where we are pushing off $400,000 of capital expenditure requests from town departments. You know, we've got the number on our side to 1.9 million through decisions and maneuvers that have been analyzed and shared back with this board. In the absence of, I think in the absence of analysis on how do we land on the correct number for the feasibility study, I feel like what the moment calls for is that analysis of perhaps, I understand the quotes are not a part of this process. That doesn't necessarily intuitively make sense to me, but I can accept that. However, I do think we can go through a comparison study to come up with a number that more accurately addresses or gets us closer to what this town is in the position to afford for May of 2026, given the maneuvers on the town side. That's my perspective, so I'm looking for an analysis to justify the 2.5, because I hear you saying, Frank, that the 2.5 was a placeholder upon the request of the schools
No.
as that placeholder. But I think it's really for the three people in the room, James Keast, David Jordan, and Frank Gervasio, to explain. But that's what I'm hearing, that it's a placeholder, and I'm just looking for the analysis behind that placeholder to get us closer to what we can present to town meeting. I think that's a fair and reasonable thing to say.
We can get you the numbers that Dr. Jordan looked at. There has been an analysis. This is not just a number that we, you know.
Well, we're looking,
put it-
but we're
so-
looking for that analysis.
Fine, we can send you the data. I will also say that, you know, I've seen a $2.2 million elementary school, a feasibility study for an elementary school. I mean, so the numbers are
I know they're,
all over the
I
place.
know they're a little bit there, but
What
it's
we
just.
wouldn't want to do is be low and then have to, you know, have a surprise of coming in and finding more. I think that, and given the fact that we are now starting to see $3 million asks by some towns,
But, you know,
that we want to, you know, get this done quickly and be,
so here's the thing, is that we're pushing to do this in May.
mhm.
How do we get this done in May? With $600,000 between where we are and where we need to be, according to what we're saying in this, regardless.
So we're going to work to look at our capital request, but I think ultimately a lot of that conversation needs to happen with the finance committee.
Okay.
As far as, you know, where the, you know, where their support of the funding for different I don't,
But I think.
I don't want to sit here and tell you where I think the money should come from.
But
I have an
also,
opinion.
but you know, the thing is that I think.
Was it shared with the finance committee?
But I think the thing is that, you know, it should start between us before it gets to the finance committee, because the fact is that if there's a disconnect, then I think the finance committee does need to be there, but I don't think we necessarily, if we get to that number that makes sense, that everyone is in agreement with, I think we're, you know, so I'd like to see us get there, and I don't want to see the finance committee just start saying like, well, this is what we're gonna do, and start saying, you can have this, you can't have this, if we don't need to get to that point.
We'll provide the comparative analysis of where that figure came from.
Yeah, and, you know, whatever we can do to get there, let's get there.
Yeah, and
Let's try
I
to
guess,
get that to that point.
just the sharing of information, if you have if you can just provide
Sure.
the basis for the 1.9.
Yeah, I can show you what I saw, and,
Okay.
and we can compare notes. I have no problem with that. I was just doing a back of the.
There have been ones done cheaper, but I don't know of any
The hard part with all the ones for the 1.9 even is it's appropriated, it's not spent. And that's the hard part, is we're talking a lot of times about what the town has put aside in an appropriation, not what they have spent on the actual feasibility.
Is there any way to get that information to see what, because that's a good analysis.
But I mean, some of these, like, they're, you know, it's 2024 when they appropriate it, and they probably don't have they probably won't have it completed until 2027. So we're
Right.
kind of in this
Still in
weird
process.
limbo
These
space
things, it
that,
takes forever to do.
and the comps in 2021 aren't gonna be accurate. So we're kind of in limbo. So, yeah, if we could share that, we can get that, let's get that information. I'll share what I saw, and we can compare notes. I have no problem with that, and let's get to something that hasn't, so we can feel comfortable with the number. And then, again, if there's anything you guys can find that could help, you know, we've kind of looked as far as we can. We've turned back several articles, I believe, that we had some money standing on it. If there's anything, you know, warrant article that you have that's out there that, you know, we're just holding this just in case. If there's things like that that you feel comfortable with releasing, that can go, that, a couple of those can go a long way.
With Dr. Jordan, yeah, and
Yeah.
but again, that's sort of in that 100-ish, maybe a little more, but not,
It
you know,
gets us
not
closer.
600,000.
It gets us closer. That's what we're looking for, so.
Okay. More work to do.
Yep.
It's an ongoing process. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We just have to figure it out, so. Anything else before we?
No, so-
All right.
Okay.
I guess, thank you for your time.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Apologies, Dr. Kuska, for coming and not having an.
I thought they'd have,
Yes.
I thought they'd have questions.
So, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have another public hearing, so good
Oh,
times.
only 3 minutes late.
It is what it is. I already see I see somebody here who's for that, so.
And if I could just say before I leave, and I'm gonna miss a little comment, but I fully support the funding for HCAT. They do an incredible job, and I think it's
Okay.
really important that we continue to keep them working and afloat, so.
Thank you for the comments. I appreciate it. And I'm sure they will too. Okay. On to our next topic of the day. So we're on to the Marshall Street polls. So if we could,
I'm going to start with the best of intentions and hope that I finish this
and
without.
if you need somebody to tap in, just let us know and we got somebody can read for you.
Okay, so this is a motion, legal notice for the hearing for the Marshall Street pole installation. In conformity with the requirements of Section 22 of Chapter 166 of the General Laws, you are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held by the Select Board in the Select Board's Meeting Room 105 at the Town Hall, 703 Washington Street, on April 6, 2026, at 7:45 p.m. upon the petition of NSTAR Electric Company, doing business as Eversource Energy, has petitioned for permission to erect or construct a line of the transmission electricity for the lighting, heating, and power upon, along, and across the public way of the town, hereinafter specified, and notice has been given and a hearing held on said petition as provided by law. Move to open the hearing at 7:50 p.m.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
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 All right, so it is open, so if we could talk about this, and I know we've talked about this before, and there were questions about it, and they were properly asked, so it's,
Yes, so do we have a representative from Eversource on the call?
okay?
So we do.
So your hand's raised, if you could unmute yourself and
Unmute, yeah.
and identify yourself, please.
Hi, yes, this is Christine Cosby from Eversource Energy.
Hi,
Hi, welcome.
Christine. Thank you for joining us this evening. Could you, so I guess, like, we've talked about this particular, like, there was one poll in particular before, and the resident who lives there, and I see the resident is here now, again, and with questions, because there is a, apparently the pole was in very close proximity to some work underground. And so could you tell us, like, what has changed about this proposal, and are we certain that we have it right this time?
Well, originally, we thought it was petitioned for a pole that was closer to the gas line out there.
Mm-hmm.
And once they determined that that was happening, they went back to engineering and they re-engineered it so that they could place the poles in different locations in order to support the existing pole line out there to support the new solar array that's being constructed. And so that's what was done. They redesigned it, re-engineered it, so the new pole location will not interfere with the gas line.
Okay. Do we have like a map that we can show and where this pole is going to be? I think we do, Christine. I'm asking the town manager to look. I believe we have it.
I don't know if I have the actual map. Oh, yeah, here we go. Unfortunately, the map isn't entirely helpful. It's just a strip of Marshall Street, but we can, we'll pull it up nonetheless. Let me just see if I can just, it's not gonna let me rotate this. There we go. Okay. So,
All right, Christine, just for those of us who don't look at these all the time, could you explain like what we're looking at and what pole we're talking about as a new pole? Is it the proposed new pole 39-46A? Is that what we're talking about tonight?
Yes, originally the pole was going to be installed on the opposite side of the east. You see the line where it says easement?
Mm-hmm.
That's the gas line. So originally the pole was going to be placed on the opposite side of that line, close to the gas line.
Okay.
But once they determined that they couldn't do that, that's when it was redesigned to place it further away into the location that is highlighted in red, proposed new pole 39-46A.
Okay. All right, and it's about 30 feet away from the existing pole. Is that how I should read this?
Yes.
Okay. Does it have to be 30 feet? Is that what they've engineered to decide it is? It can't be 100 feet, or I'm just
I don't
asking.
know, 100 to,
I'm throwing out a number that makes no sense because, but the point I'm trying to make is it have to be 30 feet is what I'm asking.
yeah, well, that's what they determined would be the best location, is 30 feet.
Okay. 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 Any questions from the board before we open it up to the public?
Just a comment, appreciate the fact that we have these public hearings and that we can hear from residents in the area and others as well. We've had questions in the past about specific locations, and the public hearing is proving itself to be a process that allows us to get to the best outcome. So just sharing appreciation for that.
Actually, Christine, one question I have for you while I have you on the line here. Do you do anything about double poles? We got a lot of them in Holliston.
I don't myself, I don't have handled the double pole situation, but if there's any concerns that you have, I can take those concerns and
Yes.
take them to the proper people that can address those.
That would be great, because we have lots of those, and we want to try to find some plans to move forward with those. But we'll take those, we'll send those to you offline, but we've had ongoing challenges trying to get some of them changed over the years, so appreciated
Okay,
if
so
you could help us with those.
You have a list, do you have a list of like the priority locations for the double poles?
We have several, yes, and I'm happy to follow up on those. And honestly, I will say,
Okay.
Eversource and Verizon have been very helpful to date in addressing some of them, but we still have some work to do, so
Yeah.
I'll be sure to follow up.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Send me whatever you have, and I'll make sure it gets to the proper hands.
Much appreciated. Sorry, I jumped the line here, Damon. You have any
No, totally
comments here?
fine. Nothing for me on this.
Okay. I'm going to open it up, and I think I probably will have there looks like there will be a comment here, so I will open it up to the public if you want to come up and, do you want to talk, or?
Sure, please.
Yeah, please. I figured that's why you were here, so, because your husband was here last time, so.
He was, and I want to thank Tina for her comments about public hearing, because I agree that the opportunity to come before the public is
Yeah.
crucial in this instance, because I think the communication has been challenging.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at, just to make sure I understand this map, so 3947 was the location of the original pole proposal, is that correct? The black.
I think that's the actual pole that's there now, right? Is that right, Christine? That 3947 is what's already there?
39 over 47 is a pole that's existing and it's been there. Like, you know, it's an existing pole that's out there. It wasn't, it's been out there for a long time. It's part of the pole line that's out there.
Okay, so the existing, that pole is 50 feet from the proposed pole, which is going to be 50 feet to the left of that. So now you're moving the pole
It's-
30 feet further from the existing pole, which, and you don't have the driveway marked here, but I think there is a very large tree and a driveway not far from there. So I guess what would be super helpful if they could actually mark the location, because currently the pole
Is the old one?
stake is still the old
Okay.
pole stake.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be terrific, so we can
And,
really
and
understand.
forgive me, but we know who you are, but could you identify yourself? so
Oh, sure.
people-
Carol Lynn Dyke, I'm up 429 Marshall Street.
Thank you.
And the other comment, I want to give a shout out to Rob from the, who's the deputy director of the DPW, who's honestly been terrific. He came out, talked to us, was
Yep.
great.
Okay.
He didn't have a lot of information, candidly, but at least he facilitated the conversation. The one thing that I mentioned to him that hasn't been addressed, as far as I can see, in addition to the gas line and the gas easement, there is an overhead major transmission line coming through that area. And I noticed that the poles that have been put in to date for the Marshall Street project are taller than the existing poles, and I think that's because they're consistently making them taller for whatever reason. But if you use those taller poles in this location, you're gonna hit those transmission lines above. So, in addition to the undergrounding, there's an above grounding issue.
Okay.
So I just feel like I think you had required or requested that someone reach out from Eversource to us directly
Yes. Did they?
and do a walkthrough with it. We never heard from anyone. We heard from the contractor who was actually here at this meeting last time.
Yes.
Who tried to connect us to someone at Eversource. We never got any response from them. So we still would really like to have somebody come out and actually walk
Sure.
the site with us and,
Yeah.
make us comfortable
Yes, absolutely.
that everything is being
It's in
considered.
it's in your front yard,
Yeah.
and,
It's
absolutely.
it's clearly a safety issue. This is
Yeah.
a major gas transmission line that they are.
Absolutely.
And it was frankly concerning that the stakes for DigSafe were there, and they literally put the stake on top of the DigSafe markings, which just implies to me that someone's really not thinking this through
Mhm.
thoroughly.
Okay. Christine, could we get someone from Eversource to sort of walk through this proposal with the homeowner here? Is that something we can do?
Yes, I just want to understand this. I actually went out there and I did not see any stakes. So
Okay.
maybe originally when the pole was being installed close to the gas line, maybe they may have staked it at that point in time, and then maybe that's when they realized, oh no, we can't put this pole here. So then they redesigned it, and they selected this location to be the best spot to put it. But I did not see a stake out there, so whether or not there was one out there and it got knocked down, or I didn't even see any kind of a stake that was knocked down.
Okay,
So,
so are you
yes,
talking about the
I
stake from the
think
original location, or are you talking about the stake for this proposed new pole we're talking about tonight?
The proposed new pole. Right now,
Okay.
this is all focused on the proposed new pole, because
Right.
the original location is off the table.
Right.
That's not happening.
Yes.
We can't, because of the gas line.
Yes.
So,
Well, I think the
this new
point we're
pole
trying to
will
make
take-
here Christine, for the homeowners trying to make here, is that we want to make sure that the proposal is not just somebody who's in a computer program saying this is the best place for it. It's somebody who's actually going to the spot and making sure that they're aware of the topography and the other potential things around here. There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff happening here, and we just want to make sure that this is the right place for the pole, so we don't have to do this again.
Okay, I totally understand that, and I do believe that our Eversource engineering folks have been out there, but I'll follow up with that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we may have even met with the town as well.
Okay.
And selected this location. Like I said, maybe there was a stake there, and now it's just gone, or whatever the weather, whatever the case may be. But I guess what you mentioned something about overhead meter transmission line.
Correct.
Yes.
So are you saying that there's a transmission line that's overhead?
Yes.
Or are you talking about the gas line that's underground?
I'm
Both.
talking about an overhead electrical transmission line running through the same corridor that the gas line runs through. So if you lift those wires at all from where they are now, you're gonna hit the transmission wires.
The point the homeowner's making too is that a lot of
Okay.
these poles that we're putting in for the solar arrays are taller poles than their usual ones, and we're concerned
yes,
about
I saw
that.
them.
Yeah.
Yep, I saw them, yep. Okay, so, I will definitely look into that. I
Okay.
will make sure that I reach out to who I need to reach out to either set up a meeting, to go out there, to make sure that everything's being
Yeah.
done properly.
Maybe what we can do
if
along
you
that
could
line,
just,
is let's coordinate it with maybe like Robert or someone in the town to make sure that we have that other, so it's not trying to, we
That
can make
makes
sure
sense.
that, like Robert can do that with Eversource and walk through it with you, just to
Right.
make sure he can, I'm not picking on Robert, it could be somebody else, but just somebody having from the town side that can be part of that to help coordinate.
And I have one other question, if I may.
Of course.
Christine, so does that mean that they're gonna combine the existing pole with the new pole, or are you adding a new pole and leaving the existing pole in place?
the existing pole that's shown on the plan, that's in black,
Correct.
that pole's an existing pole, it's been there, and it's being replaced right now with a taller pole, which is pretty much already done. That's staying there. That's part of the existing pole line. The
Right.
36A, which you see highlighted in red, that's a brand new pole going in. It'll be a new pole added to the pole line to provide additional support because of the height of the poles, the weight of the cables. So that's why that pole's there for support reasons.
Okay, that pole is not new. The 3947 is the old pole, it's short. If you're putting a tall pole
Right.
in the new location, you're gonna have challenges with that, because you're not gonna be able to increase the height of the existing pole. But anyway, somebody can come out and we can talk about it then,
Yeah.
I think is the best. But there
Oh,
are
yeah,
some
yeah.
challenges.
Yeah, but the pole 47 has been replaced with the taller pole already.
We'll
Am I
take a
right?
look, we'll take a look when they come out.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that the existing pole 47 has been replaced with a taller pole already, like many of those poles going down the street have been.
Okay.
It's probably, because it was a replacement, they could do that without having to, go before the board. But because this other pole is brand new, we have to approach the board, select board, for permission for a grant location to put, because it's a brand new pole.
You're looking for some fact-checking on that to confirm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fact checking, and actually, if I could ask a favor of the board, I think the way that the last meeting, which I did not attend, but I understand it was left, that the poll was approved contingent on
Yeah.
someone contacting us, which
Right.
they did not do.
Right.
If we could be clear at this meeting
Okay.
that they cannot proceed with the new poll, absent this on-site visit.
We can
and
make sure that that's
approval.
part of the, we can make sure that that's part of the
That'd be
the
great.
motion here, that they have to
Okay,
do that
And-
to get to do the poll.
You're specifically looking for a walkthrough coordinated with town staff?
And
And-
Eversource,
and-
yes, please.
And Eversource, okay.
Yeah.
And I know that Verizon is also somehow involved in these polls, so I don't know if Verizon is a party to this, but anyone who is going to be making decisions about this, it seems, should be at this walkthrough.
Absolutely. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Great. Thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, we'll make sure the motion includes that
Great.
language. That is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready to come?
Appreciate it.
Anyone else have any comments about this utility pole this evening? All right, I will take a motion to close the public hearing, and we can discuss.
So moved at 8:07 PM.
Second dead.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
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 All right, so the public hearing is now closed for this poll. I don't think we need to keep it up there. So, are people, I think it's reasonable to have a motion that there needs to be a walkthrough to make sure and confirm, especially considering the last time we, said that, not only did they not get the walkthrough, but it was also, they needed to move in anyway because of some existing conditions.
Christine, could I just ask you, may I ask, what is the timeline to arrange a walkthrough that includes utility company representation at a minimum, Eversource, town staff, and abutting residents? What is the timeline that timeframe you would give to organize a walkthrough like that?
I'm actually not sure, but I would think that it might be something that could happen somewhat soon, because I know that they're anxious to get the solar array,
Yeah.
energized, and so I don't think it would be a long, I think it would be a reasonable amount of time that I can make these arrangements.
Yep.
If I could just get the names of who should be there. I mean, I'll reach out to our engineering folks.
Okay.
I think the best way to do it is
But-
we can, you can reach out to the town manager's office, and he can coordinate with the resident and a staff member and you. That way you're not, they can make sure that everybody
Okay.
is at the event. I think that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
And then my question would be for Frank as well, before I offer the motion. When Eversource goes to, so without these dependencies, like these contingencies on a vote like this, if this were a more straightforward poll hearing with an approval from the board, does Eversource contact you before they come into town to do the work? Are you aware they're coming? So Christine, I think that's my other question, is how we confirm, short of, town staff will report back to the town manager's office, but just in terms of Eversource feeling like you have satisfied the requirements within the motion, you would then move forward to install the pole. But how can we, on the town side, on behalf of the resident, as well as our own staff, how can we ensure that that walkthrough has happened to the satisfaction of all those involved? So I'm wondering, is there like a feedback loop that we can insert here where you're contacting the town manager to let them know you're about to do installation? Can we include that? Because that seems like the highest level of assurances for the resident that their concerns have been addressed. Is there a way that we can do that? Because if so, I'd like to include it in the motion.
Yeah, we can.
That you notify the town of
Well,
Holliston.
I will get that information over to the people that would be involved, and I'm sure that they will probably be able to.
Yeah, just notify us that you're doing the installation.
Excuse me?
We would just want notification when the installation was happening. That's what we're
Okay,
asking for.
yeah.
Great. Okay.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Christine. We appreciate your help this evening.
Thank you.
So I'll take a motion, and we would want to include in that motion that there would be a walkthrough coordinated by the town manager with Eversource, the resident, and a member of town staff, and then maybe Robert, but can't speak for him per se, depending on availability. We want to make sure it happens at that time, and then the Eversource will notify the town of the installation, when the installation will be happening.
Okay. Right?
Yeah,
All right.
good.
Move to approve the installation of the poles as described during this hearing. New pole 3946A dependent upon a walkthrough coordinated through the town manager's office to include utility company representation at a minimum Eversource, town staff, and abutting residents, and also to include notification of the town of Holliston prior to installation of the pole after the walkthrough.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. We good? Okay. Then let us know. Let Frank know, and we can make sure that we can coordinate that with, it'll be easiest just to go through him to coordinate it, so. you know. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Carolyn. Christine, thank you for your time and your assistance this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'll be sure to reach out to the town tomorrow to get
Perfect.
any other kind of information that they may need as well.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, where you have, a busy night. We have the assessors to talk about their stuff. So if Kevin and Jeff to come forward, you just,
Good evening. We have the chairman of the board, Jeffrey Marshall, and myself, Kevin Rudden, the
Welcome.
principal assessor.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And so we're gonna just go through, I think,
If I could interrupt you,
Go ahead.
the one article you had questions on?
yeah, I think, that's actually what I was about to say, is I
Thank you.
think we're good with most of the articles. I think the only comment I had when I was going through the warrant comments is that if we could just make sure that the comments, I mean, we can add our own comments, but if you could add them, it might be easier just to make sure that the comments say, we've done this in the past, this is not a, like, to basically illustrating, because sometimes these articles, they blend together, just to make sure that the comments say if something is new, or if this is something we've done in the past with no changes.
Yep.
Just except for it's like, it's COLA or whatever.
Right.
the
Frank, I have
changes.
the marked up versions.
Yes.
Okay. Based on the questions you raised the last time I was here,
Yes.
I went back and tried to simplify it. Unfortunately, all those crossovers, except what's in yellow, were the town council reformatting the article. The only difference between our current means-tested exemption, which we've now done for 2 years, are the 3 sentences highlighted in yellow. And I will go over the changes. So one says, instead of a property tax exemption for seniors on property taxes, it says for debt exclusion construction projects. Okay. Instead of saying, and then in section 1, instead of saying for property taxes, it says that any exemption would be equal or less than the actual cost of borrowing in any fiscal year for a specific debt exclusion funded project, to be set annually by your board. So that reverts to the language we have now. Then the only thing we did is when we got to the section that referred to the state income tax credit, which said 50 to 200%, Corinne and I sat down and reviewing this, Corinne Sandborn, the deputy, and said, oh, wait a minute, that's way too much money for a thing. So we said not less than 10 and more than 40, and then I appended to show you what that looks like. Based on the current 2730, that would range from a exemption of $273 at 10% to $1,092. And that depends on what would be out there if we wanted to help people. So in other words, we don't have numbers yet on anything. Let's just say we're talking the highway and water building. And we don't know the cost as of right now, but let's assume it was $280 on someone's tax rate. You could say, your board could say 10%, and they'd get $273 off. And again, for people who are listening, we had 33 people qualify this year for the means tested. The qualification is identical. So if this were in place right now, and there were a debt exclusion cost, you would be limited to 33 people. And again, if it's 5 years from now and you've done this and a large educational facility is on the docket, then you could go up the line. So basically, there's those three changes, and specifically, the biggest one is tailoring the percentage to what an actual cost might be. And then literally, there is absolutely no difference from what we're doing right now. And I hope that clears it up. And unfortunately, all the green, blue, and red changes are the town council reformatting the article and asking questions. But I thought it might make it easier if I just started with the other. What I literally did was lay them side by side and say, what are the changes? And it's those three things in yellow. Does that help you grasp it more? And I apologize for not doing that the first time.
It's okay. I think one thing I had thought about afterwards is I think it would be a good idea if the, and I like that you put it in there, is that the assessors would make the recommendation to the select board, just to have another voice to sort of like double check, to sort of be a little bit of a check and balance in this case.
That is the procedure now. That would
Exactly.
stay the same.
Exactly.
And
But I
that's
mean,
one of the
the previous iteration you had the assessors making that was the.
Because, as you know, I said I based it on another towns, and when I did the, after getting your feedback from the three of you, is I went to what do we have today,
Yeah.
and what do we need to accomplish,
Right.
and literally, the only changes again are the title,
Yeah.
saying it's debt exclusion,
Yep.
and the percentage.
Okay.
And the
All the
board
other
coming
ones.
and recommending, the Board of Assessors coming and recommending to you stays the same. So what I would envision is, as we come in October for that percentage, if this were to go forward through your board and go on the warrant and get passed by the voters, and then go through the legislative process, the Board of Assessors would be coming to you in October for two percentages.
Right.
Or only one if there's no debt exclusion.
If there's no debt.
But,
Right.
and then we would have a recommendation in why.
Gotcha.
So I hope that simplifies it for you.
It
I
does,
know
no.
you in particular had
That makes it a lot
questions.
easier.
Well, in the end, it's the explanation to town meeting, so the clarification and the simplification is helpful, because I do think some folks will see that there's a subset of residents who will be exempt from paying for debt excluded projects with debt exclusion, and so the clarification, the language will be helpful for the ultimate success, so appreciate that.
Right, and the nice thing about it, to tell you the truth, is since we're following the state guidelines on income and everything else, in effect, the state law is deciding, through, copied into here, is deciding what the criteria is. But again, I mean, we can stand up and legitimately say, there are 33 people who would be eligible if this were in place today.
Sure.
Right.
It's not everybody in the town.
Right. Thank you.
Damon?
No, that, I was clear on the intent from the get, so I think the language will actually be helpful for the discussion.
Well, I say sometimes we're so involved with it, we don't realize we can't explain it to somebody who's not. So I apologize for that, but
No, it's
No
okay.
apology needed.
it's a good exercise to go back, though, because now it's much easier to explain to anybody now that it's simplified.
Yeah, I think that is the overall win here, and I
Yeah.
think when lay people who aren't paying attention to all the gobbledygook all the time see this, it'll be much more clear, and I think
Right.
help out a lot.
Okay. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm comfortable.
And the board is, through Jeff, is familiar with the changes. They're actually going to vote on next Tuesday.
15th.
Okay.
The full board, but the members have seen this version, and
And
there's no objection, but
Okay.
just as the board took a formal vote to support all the other articles, next Tuesday they
Yeah.
will, and I will forward that to Frank, just so you have it for your records.
Great.
So I didn't want to mislead you on that either.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Okay.
I think
Good
we're
job.
good. We really appreciate you making those changes. I think it makes a big
Thanks for
difference.
coming in.
Thank you.
Like I said, thank you, because it's a good exercise. It helps you.
Yeah.
Like I said, sometimes we speak our own language, and then,
Sometimes it's good to have somebody saying like, well, what does that mean? Yes.
yes.
So, thank you.
Thank
you.
Much appreciated.
Yep.
Have a great evening, guys. All right. We got plenty to talk about. We got HCAT next. Whoever wants to come forward, talk to us.
Okay.
And we
Chris O'Lawless, President of the Board of Holliston Cable Access.
And Bob Shore, Treasurer, 10 Cassandra Lane.
Thank you both for coming in. I had some conversations with you, Creso, and Bruce to talk about this a couple months ago, and then we had another conversation. follow up to sort of get some more information. And, you know, I think all of us agree that HCAT is a wonderful resource in Holliston, and we want to figure out how to keep it moving along when the current model is has some challenges. So if you could just, do you have a presentation or however you want to?
Brief presentation, just
Great.
kind of giving the background.
That'd be great. Okay.
Holliston Cable Access is an independent, not-for-profit corporation. It was formed in 1985. For 40 years, our mission is to provide the residents of Holliston with all the local news and live events necessary to keep them informed regarding town issues and events. Despite our success in carrying out our mission, we are caught in the same financial situation as other local cable access stations. Namely, it's decreasing revenue from cable providers like Verizon and Comcast as subscribers cut the cord and move to streaming. Right now, we are in a transition period due to that, and we need financial support to move through it. We don't even know what the bottom of the cable subscriptions would be. We've been saying it for 5 years. When is the bottom going to be? And actually, our Verizon contract is under negotiation right now to be finalized in September. We don't know the terms of that. What we are doing is we're creating a fundraising arm that will have several components with the goal to allow us to be financially self-sufficient for the future as best we can, given that we are not in control of the big picture of cable communications. Part of our financial initiative is to present an article at town meeting for operating funds on the warrant at May. During this transition, we know that we'll have this operational gap, and these funds from town meeting will allow us to create and implement a robust fundraising program, review our expense structure, and keep local news in Holliston. Thank you.
I had a couple quick questions here, and then one of them's for Frank here. We've had, and forgive me if, I think I've been talking about so many different things I might have forgotten if we've talked about this, but have we had council review sort of how, you know, because this relationship is sort of like we have a relationship, a quasi-relationship with HCAT, but they're independent. You know, I'm just sort of trying to make sure that, like, you know, this kind of a process with the warrant article is feasible, and we want to make sure that we get it right so it doesn't turn into something that could have legal challenges down the road.
Sure, yeah, so both feasible and defensible from a legal perspective
Okay.
per town council. Oddly enough, I'm not sure if that's the right way to put this, but organizations like HCAT, folks who are like sort of our PEG providers, I forget what the PEG
Public
stands for.
educational
Yes,
government?
public educational and government. Are exempt from Chapter 30B for state procurement statute. And so we can enter into sort of a number of different funding mechanisms with HCAT that might otherwise be prohibited for
With
other
other-
organizations.
Okay. Okay.
And so any potential, so we've sort of, Liz Lyden and I at MTC have sort of crafted a draft warrant article that, you know, should the board want to move forward with it,
Okay.
would be permissible.
I think, you know, when we met a couple weeks ago, I think the big question that we had is just, we want to make sure that, you know, this is going to come off a little bad, but I apologize, but we want to make sure we don't just give you money so that it doesn't do anything. So we kind of want to have an understanding of, like, is this the right thing? Can you get to where you want to be? Because, you know, we want you to be successful. We want to make sure that we're supporting you in that success, but we also don't want to give you money that you have a 2-year program that you can't reach that might be infeasible. Is it a realistic timeline that you're thinking about? Are you know, is it, and what is the expectations for, you know, for that profitability, or not profitability, for that ability to be, to not need that, yeah, self-sustaining, thank you. In this process, if you could just kind of give us a little bit more clarity on that.
So some of the pro formas, Mark Missick, you've had a chance to review those. You'll notice that fiscal year '26, that ends June 30th, we're financially challenged, which is why we're here tonight. As Chriso mentioned, we're starting a number of fundraising initiatives, such as, and we already have sponsorships, but we haven't actively pursued them as much because of the Verizon and Comcast contributions. With those declining now, we have to ramp that up. And that also includes what we're calling vendor services, where certain programs we run, and we have many award-winning programs, but there's certain programs that the town benefits from that we're more than eager to provide the town with in-kind contributions, just like we do the schools for rent forgiveness. But at some point, we have to start to monetize
Sure.
those services. So that's in the pro formas. That
Okay.
wasn't there before.
Okay.
We're also applying, and we've been applying in the past for grants from places in town even, such as the newcomers, so that we can fund special projects of a lighter magnitude, but equally important, such as our podcast studio that we're looking to create, and revamp the existing radio station airwaves that are there. So.
And we're also going to take a hard look at our total expense picture.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
That's
Now,
a
are you
good
saying
thing.
like with like podcasts, would it be something like, making it up? Is it something like somebody could, if they wanted to do a podcast, they could like rent out the space for an afternoon or something like that? Or would it be more like
Yes.
podcast? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be like a revenue source, not
Yeah,
just something.
basically, yeah, monetizing is what we need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a
And-
lot of resources, we have a lot of technology, we have a lot of great equipment, and we can monetize, we're gonna try to monetize that, the technology that we've got.
And we have a lot of great volunteers as well, both full-time and part-time, who do camera work, editing, production.
Tom's here every week and he's
know.
awesome. He's fantastic.
We also have a couple of other folks with us tonight. Bruce Guilfoy, our station manager, if you don't know, and Heidi Gibson is a board member with us tonight. And we have 3 or 4 other board members. We have one open spot that we're trying to fill, so if anybody's interested, we'll do a shameless plug here.
Great. Okay.
But we are open to having people join us and contribute, because that allows us to also stretch the dollars we have to spend by filling in positions to maintain the level of quality and the number of productions and programs that we currently run.
2 other points here. Frank, the town grant here in their pro forma is 52,000, and we talked about a little bit of a different number. And I just kind of want to know if we had that conversation.
So we did have a couple things shift budget-wise. We had initially sort of spitballed the number of around 52,000. My recommendation to the board was that we find operating dollars as opposed to something like free cash, which is more one time, to fund the request. And because of those sort of budgetary challenges and changes that we've experienced, the operating dollars that I've been able to find are roughly 42,000 and change. Just my recommendation, but that would be a little bit of the gap between the 42 and 52.
Yeah.
And that's as of whatever today's date is, April 6th at 8:30 p.m. Those are just what we've sort of been able to scrap
Yeah,
together.
we just kept the
Yeah.
plug number.
Yep.
that
Yeah.
we
makes
talked
total
Well,
about.
I just wanted to point
Yep.
that out because that
That's
was
helpful to know.
That's very
Yeah.
helpful, thanks.
You know, in order to fund payroll and other known expenses through the end of the fiscal year, we've also moved our CD into our savings account, so we have access to it.
okay.
So you see some redemption there
Hmm.
of that number to cover expenses.
Okay.
That would obviously mean,
Maybe a
unless
little
there's fundraising, we'd have to dip a little deeper.
more. Okay.
It doesn't put us at a critical juncture yet.
Right.
But obviously, we want to make sure we have enough liquidity so that solvency isn't an issue.
Right.
Which
Absolutely.
would assure the board and FinCom.
Absolutely.
on
And I think one other question before I open it up to the board here is that, so we're talking about the vendor services, the 40,000. So we're talking about things like this, like coming to like the select board meetings and things like that. Are there anything other particular kinds of events that we're talking about, or?
Well, I think that as a starter, we would enter into a memorandum of understanding.
Sure.
Where we would, both of us would figure out which events we would cover always for you, which would be the live, for example, live school committee, live select board, town meeting, graduation, plus all of the other events that we, all the other meetings that we stream through Zoom and make it available. Bruce, can you think of any others?
Well, of course, we do all the school sports,
Yes.
School sports?
varsity games, home games, and of course, football, home and away.
Okay.
So what we can do is, the basis of this agreement would be, we have industry data and we know how much it costs us, say, per hour to do this work for you.
Yes.
And we would come to an agreement, say, this is what it costs us for this set of events.
Right.
And every quarter, say, we did 300 hours.
Right.
At X number an hour. And we would become a vendor for that amount, for that, in that respect.
Okay.
It's all to be
Yeah,
figured
we-
out.
we-
But I like
yeah.
it because I think it gives you value, and it gives us, pays us for what we do.
Yeah.
So that's something down the road, that's part of our plan.
Okay.
And that number will be refined.
Of course.
Yeah, the
It's a
40
plug
is-
right now
It's just, it's
to
just,
balance.
gotcha. So then that's the expectation, and then fundraising, the fundraising efforts that you're talking about, and then looking for grants.
And brand awareness.
Yeah. So,
Again, we're hosting at Rushford and Sons on April 27th,
okay,
an open event.
great.
Oh,
We have right
yeah.
here.
You got him?
Can the camera see that?
Hold it right up.
Okay. Tina, do you have any comments, questions right now?
Yeah, a couple. So is there any state legislative action that you're hearing about to address these changes that might come into play? I don't see anything reflected on the reporting that you've shared with us, but would you anticipate anything coming from the state in terms
of
of,
funding?
like on the cherry sheet, although I wouldn't think so, but any state legislative
Or
action?
even an earmark? Should we ask for an earmark?
There is legislation
Earmark, yeah.
before the state legislature that's been moving at slower than a snail's pace.
Okay.
For
And-
all the cable access
Yeah,
stations
this
in
is
Massachusetts.
statewide.
Yeah, so it's,
And we're hearing, Bruce, if I'm not mistaken, that part of this is viewed as a tax. So the legislature is very leery of trying to, not everybody's supporting it, but it would allow us to, monetize better?
Yes, a lot of the streaming services that
Yeah.
come through.
well, one version is that Verizon and Comcast would then have to pay more, and that's the rub. So,
Okay.
We don't anticipate anything changing soon.
there's a lot of versions going out there.
So at best, it would be fiscal year '27, and those pro formas as we continue to
Sure.
move forward with our financial projections.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
My role is new at the board as treasurer. They didn't have one before. So now we're, again, acutely focused on trying to be not only of value for the town, which we've done for a number of years,
Absolutely.
but also fiscally responsible, so that all of the constituents in town can support the hub HCAT offering.
Okay.
Okay. Just, you might not know the answer to this, but at the state level, if legislation were to move forward, do you know if it's like a local option that municipalities can opt into in order to receive you don't know?
Not
Okay.
there yet.
Yeah, right, got it. Okay. You mentioned that the Verizon contract is under negotiation. We've not had, I'm blanking on his-
Barry.
Barry, thank you, Barry Sims. We've not had him come back to the table to update us on the contract negotiations. We typically do, so I anticipate at some point he will come and share with the board how it's going. Do you see that having a positive impact on revenue through Verizon?
Well,
It's
we've
been
had
declining, I can see that.
Well, we've had a good relationship with Verizon in terms of the equipment grants that they've
Yep.
negotiated with us, and also the fact that we have a nice 5% is our number that we get from the subscriber revenue.
Okay.
We hope to continue that in the future, but there is really no guarantee.
Because their subscriber numbers are going down, so that
Right.
5%
So
is
they
going
may
down.
be much more, they might be harder to deal with this time, but just because they realize what they have to deal with. But
Okay.
we're hoping we'll continue the same good relationship, but nothing's in stone.
I guess I'll bring it up under other board business, but maybe that's something that we have Barry Sims, if you're still chair, come back and update us on with contract negotiations.
I mean, yeah, we
Just
can,
the-
we can certainly talk to him about it and see if there's any updates from his side of things. I think the question I would certainly have in that situation is like, is there a different model that we should try to work through versus, you know, or is there not, but I don't know how much we would be able to get out of that, you know.
Yeah.
this
We're
deep
trying to
of a
figure out where
negotiation.
the incentive would be for them.
Right. Or they would want something in return, and we
Exactly.
not necessarily, so if we start trying to change, then they might not give you the capital investments
Yeah.
that you
Yeah, like
need.
Comcast to the residents, giving them a 5-year price lock. But they're not gonna give us this price for
Right.
5 years.
Right,
So we'd be taking a hit in the short term.
sure.
My last question is, so for fiscal year 27 coming up, you're asking for a town grant, and that's going to be a standalone article, a raise and appropriate article, appropriate article. But in fiscal years 28 and beyond, this is actually a question for Frank, it'll be worked into the operating budget as a fee for service. So what budget would that sit under?
That's a great question. I imagine we would probably, maybe just under the select board budget, we would have it under the communications line item, or we could call it out separately. That was sort of why I thought it was best that it come from a raise and appropriate source as opposed to a one-time funding source. We're going to anticipate having this as a recurring
Well, it sounds like
expense.
they're working on an MOU for that effect.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, we could, in theory, I suppose we could split it, between us and the schools, but I'm not sure, if that really matters. So it might be best just under the select board's budget.
Okay.
And Tina, I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. I thought you mentioned fiscal 27. We're looking for
The
the main
grant.
town article, so fiscal 26.
Yeah, I think I did miss that point, but
That's
I heard
fine.
you say that originally, and then
Yeah.
I'm so focused on fiscal year 27.
Yeah.
But we
Well, we
don't,
can revisit it again in 27 if you'd like.
yeah,
Well, it would
so
be-
this is a point
So,
of
but if a town
clarification.
meeting, if we're raising and appropriating, I think the idea would be with July 1, you need it before July 1? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So we
But-
wouldn't be able to do it that way, we'd have to do it through a free cash or something, right? 'Cause
We
we would have to.
we would be solvent through 26.
But
So-
if we,
Go ahead, Doug.
I know,
If we
so,
Oh.
don't get it until 20.
until
seven.
July 1st.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
because if we raise and appropriate, then it becomes part of the budget, and then we don't have to go back and
Right.
try to figure out, like, where does that 40,000 come from? We've already baked it into the budget, and we would get you the money on July 1st, and then moving forward, we would already that's what I'm hearing Frank say, so that, if we can.
Calendar year 26, fiscal year 27, I think is,
Yeah, well, no, but that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
July
clarify.
1st being fiscal 27.
Right,
Correct.
so, yeah, so that would be okay because if we go through town meeting, the way we have it structured now, it would be raise and appropriate, and it would be July 1 that we would,
That would work.
okay,
That would work.
that'd be okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We just adjust some of our savings account money.
Yeah, because like I said, the ideal part of doing it that way is then we've baked it into the budget moving forward. So we
Yes.
kind of, we found sort of a way to help you now
Yes.
and have it sort of
And have
there.
it work for the town.
It'd be part of the vendor services, we'd be able to sort of allocate something towards that end.
Got it.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm all
Glad
set
we-
on
Glad we had
questions.
that.
Yeah,
You
thank
have any
you.
questions?
That actually hit my budget worry, so I'm glad we addressed that. I really appreciate the forward-thinking mentality on monetization. I think it goes without saying, right, the fact that you're anchored to an infrastructure that is cable, which is, basically phasing out or at least changing dramatically, but you're putting your feet into something new, the streaming services. It's very forward-thinking, and I really appreciate that. I love the discussion of monetization. I think, as you all probably know, anyone can be a content creator now. We're heading towards a content creator economy, but there's still a very big gap between being a person with a phone doing TikTok videos and someone who's got multiple guests in a podcast format, where you still have 8 to 18,000 of equipment that you need to put up, which is something that the average teen who might want to do this wouldn't want to pay for themselves, but might not be too hesitant to drop $20 on for half an hour or whatnot. And so I think that's really smart. I'm sure the devil's in the details, but maybe there's a there. So I'm glad you were all looking at that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thanks.
I think my only comment here too is that if we could sort of just check to see if there's anything we can add to our earmark requests, like if there's capital or something, like, because I think it's hard to do like operating expenses, but like if there's something in particular that we send a letter to our legislators every year asking for different kinds of requests and things like that, and it might behoove us to include in there if there's something, 20,000, 50,000, whatever the number is, to see if maybe there's an opportunity there, if we can add that to the request.
So in the statement of financial position, you will see in column L, down at the bottom, starting row 46, 47.
Okay.
There's a summary of our capital requests for
Yes.
that year.
Yeah, and so there's like computer editing systems, 11,000, fiber connections with a high school, 31. If there's anything, town hall meeting room upgrade, 26,000. Is that this room? Or? But maybe like things like that. Maybe there could be a few of those that we could.
What's the timing on something like that?
So
Sooner?
we would send it soon.
We're gonna send it soon. So.
Yeah, and I have it on sort of the draft list. I think Crystal, you and John and Ben and I, or some combination of the people in this room, had talked a little bit about the earmark previously.
Right.
But in terms of the actual timing, the state's budget process is about to kick off in earnest in the legislature. They signed the budget July, August. Earmarks typically aren't accessible. The actual, like even if it's approved, the actual funds typically aren't accessible in the second half until the second half of the fiscal year. So January, February-ish. So there would even if we got it, would certainly be delayed.
Okay, but this would be capital expenditure related anyway.
Most likely.
So
Probably.
it's CapEx related
Yeah.
anyway. Okay, but when would you want to know from us that amount?
So I sort of penciled in a $50,000 request for capital needs, just general capital needs for equipment. But if you anticipate it being any lower or higher, we can certainly discuss.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay.
Just to, is that
Yeah.
okay? Yep.
Maybe we kind of also nudge our legislators too about it, just because of the importance of it.
Yep.
Just to make sure that they can kind of be like, hey, this would be really great to do. And if there might be some opportunities here, but again, if it's something you need more pressing, then maybe we don't put it in there so that you're not waiting for something that you need more immediately. But you can work it out offline to try to get there.
Ben, I have one more question. I wondered if you wanted to take a moment, if you have the information in front of you, just to plug your viewership, if you have it monthly or annually or quarterly, your viewership on HCAT, just so folks understand the importance and how many people tune in.
Thank you. Do you want to
Self-promotion?
take the stage on that?
It's always a good
But if
thing.
you're gonna talk, you gotta come up to the microphone so we can hear you.
Yeah.
I gave you the numbers.
Nice move.
Not all
Well
entirely,
played.
but we have about 1,500 subscribers. I'm generalizing.
Yep, yep.
My screen went dark. On the both Comcast and Verizon side.
Okay,
We have far more on YouTube.
okay.
That's our main distribution.
That and Facebook.
Facebook
Okay.
as well. We don't have a paywall, so that's one of the reasons we're trying to look at what would people consider paying for. But there's other programs like Chief Cassidy's
Story hour?
Story Hour.
Award-winning story
Award-winning
hour.
Story Hour. Several
Forget that.
awards, which we'd want to make available, for everybody to learn from. So
Totally.
there's certain shows that we'd really like to draw people in for,
Yeah.
and others. And then, some shows have gotten a lot of hits. One of the PSA announcements on Rushford and Sons was our largest viewing one, wasn't it, Bruce?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Just Thinking episodes
Yeah.
on school sports
really hit it out of the park, too.
Great,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Fair to say, not a day goes by someone's not tuning into an HCAT production.
Not a day goes by, someone's not recording something in town on
That's
an
right.
HCAT production.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no,
There
appreciate
are
the
a
question.
million stories in the town.
Yes.
I was at the library on a Saturday and I saw Tom recording an event at the library on a Saturday morning, no less. It was memorable.
We have amazing staff
Yes,
and
we do. Yep.
volunteers.
Yep, we do.
A recent show was the Diwali celebration.
Mhm.
You know, cultural events also get quite a bit of interest
Great.
from
Awesome.
different groups.
Love it.
And obviously, the sports allow people across the country to see their grandsons, nephews, cousins, whatever.
Yeah. And we're talking to Bobby about the 250th. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities for those kinds of events too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did the 300th town celebration.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Okay. I think.
was the information provided the right kind of information you're looking for?
I think so. I mean, you don't.
Obviously, we can
Yeah.
alter and
I think what I like is that you have a plan. It seems realistic. You're not, we're not going to say we're going to make $1 million doing,
yeah, you'll notice
asking
we're
for
really
handouts.
trying to break even.
Absolutely.
That's all we have
It's
to
like,
do.
yeah,
And I
being a nonprofit.
You've diversified your revenue stream, which I think is good. So there's a bunch of different things you're looking for, so that if something is a little bit lower, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. So that's kind of what I'm looking for to see. And I think it sounds great. You have some plans. I think. Are you talking to the finance committee?
14th.
The 14th.
Yes.
Okay. Great. And they have this information you sent
They
out
do.
over the time. Wonderful. So I think we're good. Everybody good?
Solid.
All right, thank
So
you.
thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
in
your
this evening.
support.
Really appreciate it. We appreciate everything HCAT does, the hub does for everyone in
That's right.
Holliston. So thank you.
It's more than just cable access.
It's more than just cable access. We just appreciate it. We'll have to explore other avenues too. Maybe there's other programs that we can figure out to try to get more viewership and things. So
Story time with the select board.
maybe let's see what it is. Maybe it's a Q&A
Thank you again.
with us or something
Really
like that.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to see
care.
you all.
Thank you so much for your support. Thanks. a lot.
Thank you.
We'll be talking.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. You need to support us. Bobby's coming up here. Mr. Blair, you want to come forward? Oh, so Deb, you're on this, in on this too, huh? Mr. Blair, good evening.
Bobby Blair, School Street.
Deborah Moore, 183 Mill.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. I know you put in a citizen's petition. I was a little taken aback. Like, why didn't you come to us and just say, like, hey, can we just be on the agenda so we can have this conversation to support you? We would.
I didn't know how it worked.
It's okay. That's okay. I'm just saying it would have been great. We probably could have had a conversation like this, and we probably can get to where you need to be. So, why don't we back up and sort of say, like, what, you put forward a citizen's petition, a particular request. If you could just kind of walk us through what it is in that petition that you
Right.
want to talk to us about.
Actually, we kind of formed a grassroots organization.
Okay.
Out of some of the groups in town. And I kept thinking, and we had put in for monies from the state and got turned down. One of the things was the bus tour on the application. Well, you can't use any of the money for transportation. Well, geez, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But we did put in for money and we didn't get it. I hate going around with a tin cup. Anything I hate asking for money. But all I could think of is Staples Chamberlain, who was the town moderator way back when.
Mm-hmm.
He left town on April 19th, marched to Boston. He went to Fort Ticonderoga. He took several trips down to Newport, Rhode Island. And then in 1778, Massachusetts said each city and town, you're going to have a shirt, breeches, shoes, and socks for your men in the Continental Army. And this guy left from right out here on his buckboard and horse, and he went out to Albany, New York at the end of January, okay?
Oh my.
No GPS, no days in, no McDonald's on the way. Alls I can think of is, Jesus, where do you stop? You don't know if someone's a loyalist or not. But he got to Albany, and then he went down to Valley Forge and left off the rest of the things the people in town had made. Then he made it all the way back here in time to moderate the first town meeting in March, right?
Wow,
I mean,
He did all that in 2 months?
and he was 50 years old.
it's young,
Alls
young.
I
Very
can
young,
think of-
very young. Very young.
Well, what a hero, right? There was Jacob Miller up in, well, it was Underwood Street, it's Glowing Drive now. And he commanded a fort on Castle Island in Boston with Paul Revere. So that's how Paul Revere's family ended up out here, okay? And I kept thinking about these guys, I'm going, Jesus, you know,
Sure.
God love them. So I says, we gotta do something for the 250th. I put it on social media, said, what do you think? Some people said, oh, laser light show. That laser light show a couple of years ago was $9,000, right? Someone said, how about fireworks? Well, the Lions Club is gonna have fireworks. I think they're the week after the 4th, okay? So that'd be kind of redundant. So Deb, Joanne Halbert, the town historian, Gina Stucci, celebrate. So we've kind of gotten together and we came up with some things.
Okay.
And we've been knocking on doors and trying to pass the tin cup around.
So I guess, so before you do that, so like if we, as a town, were giving the money to do these, who would we be giving it to?
You'd be giving it directly to Claflin Hill Orchestra.
Okay.
A one-shot deal and that's it. Actually, they're on the list here. If you want me to just kind of go through this.
Sure, go ahead.
Saturday, May 16th, Casey at the Bat had a terrible fall in January with the rain and the wind, and I put out a plea and we cremated him. We have a new Casey at the Bat coming, but it also falls at the same time that the Mudville baseball team is playing a team from Connecticut at Goodwill. So we're gonna have a procession. We had one for Casey number 2. And this will just go down Exchange, across Mechanic, down to school. We'll have a little ceremony and that's done. But it's Americana. I mean, you know. One organization that did kind of pop up, and they're having a spring choir concert in St. Mary's across the street on the 29th of May. And then Saturday, June 27th, I've got the Unlikely Strummers coming. They're a 20-piece ukulele. They put on performance. Saturday, July 4th, hopefully we have a reading of the Declaration of Independence. I mean, that's what it's all about, right out here in front of Town Hall. I kind of talked Mount Hollis Lodge into having breakfast that morning. They normally wouldn't. And then the Lions Club has their carnival. On August 15th, we have the Claflin Hill Orchestra, who went up on their price this year. We've done this twice. It was $3,500. Now it's $4,000. You added in another $400 or $500 for a police officer, and we were lucky. We had a meeting before with the chief, and we used to have 2 cops. I mean, and that was $800 for 2 cops, and he kind of downsized it. We only need 1 now, which saves us $400, you know,
Right.
when you got the tin cup.
Yep.
So, and that is on August 15th.
Okay.
If anybody else wants to have something, I'm sure we might have a little money left over, you know. We're gonna try to have a trivia night, call it Revolutionary Trivia at Rushford's, right down here.
I think the star performers are in this room right now, and I'm looking at two of them.
Chief's on my team.
Chief's
No,
on.
whoa, no. I just called it.
So, them are the things that no one else came up with it. The town didn't say, hey, we're gonna do something the 4th of July. There was no organizations that said, hey.
Sure.
So,
There you are.
this is grassroots, at least for Staples Chamberlain and Jacob Miller.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
And you were
Them people are heroes in my eyes.
totally, and we appreciate you coming forward. But so we're talking the citizens petition you brought forward was for $2,500. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because of the 250th.
That'd pay a portion.
Yeah, a good portion of it. Okay.
Claflin Hill Orchestra.
Okay.
And that's something that's been so well received in the
Yeah,
past 2 years.
totally.
The first year, we had 150 people that came to the concert, which was terrific. And then last year, we topped it to 350. So
Wow.
we're hoping for even a lot more this year because it's really gained a lot of momentum and they're such a great
That's great.
orchestra.
Okay. And we had talked about maybe seeing if there was, because putting it into the celebrations budget.
Yes.
Is there any room there, or is what do you think, or is it something we have to talk about with the level 3?
Yeah, I mean, we could, one option would be to make the HCAT request of, 40 as opposed to 42 and change. I'm sure we could probably, find $2,500 somewhere if we wanted to adjust the celebrations budget upwards by that amount.
Okay. Thoughts, comments, ideas?
I'm sure we could find 2,500 somewhere. Probably we want to clarify. Otherwise, it sounds like we have $2,500 that we can sometimes choose to spend
Well,
on certain things, which I know is not what you're saying, Frank. What I hear is he's expressing there's some creative accounting that he's going to endeavor to undertake to find the 2,500, and you'll present that back to the board.
Yeah.
Wide open to hearing that, and would want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, my concern about that is I'm open to it, but time's a ticking.
Mhm.
And if we need to do something, I think we'd have to have something like tonight to be able to move ahead. I don't really know if we'd want to be able to wait
Okay.
too much longer here.
So one possibility is, and I could be way out of turn, seeing as I'm not a member of the select board, but the select board does have a gift account that has a little bit more than $6,000 for it, in it, excuse me.
Yep.
That,
What do we usually use that for?
For me, I think.
that's where
Is that
all the
your
baked
donut
goods
budget?
usually
Yeah,
come from,
that's-
no. I've looked back in Munis, I hadn't seen any transactions out of it.
Okay.
And I checked with accounting and the treasurer to see if there, because a lot of time gifts come in with sort of like strings attached.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not aware of any.
Okay.
There's also a Blair Square gift account, and I'm fairly sure that was related to the development of Blair Square.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we explore if we can use one of those
Yes.
to help here, and we can talk through if it's what's appropriate, especially if it's there's 6,000 there and we haven't used it. Can we do something here along that line?
Yeah, I think I would be comfortable with
Yeah.
utilizing that for.
I think it's
for this
an
purpose.
absolutely
Yep.
appropriate use to
Mhm.
do something like that.
Bobby might say it's penance for the select board not doing the lion's share of the work to do the work that he's done, so.
I get asked a lot of things, and I didn't get asked this
Oh,
one. so-
you weren't asked, I was asked.
Oh.
So I
Oh, so we'll blame you.
yes,
Okay,
you can
cool.
blame me.
Okay.
So-
Cool. Does that mean I was
I would
asked?
never do that, but.
You were not
Oh,
asked.
okay.
Oh, no. When was it? It was November of 24, 25. Sat on your porch and you asked about this. But we don't have to go back in time.
So I guess what I'm saying here is that I think it would be probably a challenge to do the citizens petition, but we should be able to get you something that maybe even more than the 2,500, but depending on how we look at it,
Oh,
sooner,
oh,
if you're okay with that.
oh, I'm fine.
Just checking,
Fine.
Because I think we can find a solution. We just need to kind of figure out exactly what that looks like, make sure the language is right, and then make sure that we can do that, and we can, you can check, because I mean, you're talking about the Claflin Orchestra, and we can see how much we can work there and what that looks like, to make that work out with the gift account.
It could be helpful to just have, for the citizens petition piece of it, to have, because I think there were
13?
12 or 13 signatures on it. We just need, depending on how many there are, there need to be basically 9 people left as signatories. So if there's 13 people on it, we need 4 people, and you could be one of them, to just sign and say, you know, I authorize the withdrawal of the
citizens petition.
The citizens petition, and then that'll sort of like tie up that loose end, just so we don't have it like sort of lingering out there, and then we can explore the gift account.
Because
route.
we should be able to have an answer in the next couple of weeks, like next week, if not.
Yes.
By the end of the month.
Probably.
We can have an answer on that, and I'm confident that we can make that
Yep,
work in
absolutely.
some capacity, if it's, you know, paying them directly or going through Celebrate Holliston, whatever it is, we can figure out what that looks like. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Wonderful.
Quick question, where can one access the virtual or digital tin cup? How can
Bobby,
people
you're asking.
donate online for these efforts? Do you have a site someone can
No.
go to?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have to get you Venmo.
Like I said, we're very, very grassroots.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't want to create a whole
Sure.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
We're using Celebrate Holliston. If someone gives us a check, make it out to Celebrate Holliston, not Bobby Blair or Debbie Moore.
Right,
You know,
right.
that kind of thing.
Sure. Got it.
Okay.
And the events go May 16th through August 15th at this point?
Yes.
Which is
Yep.
a wonderful amount of time there, a lot of
Well,
activity.
you've got the Lions Club Carnival in between there. You got Celebrate
Does-
Holliston.
Do we have all that in the calendar for the town? Because we have a town calendar with events. Are all those events?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe we could just have one page of
Yeah.
consolidated list of all the community events that we're having.
And then we can
for,
make sure they're
for
in,
the
because
250th.
like there's the what do they call it, the Sophie or the
SUFA.
the SUFA, excuse me, the thing in Blair Square that has like, it has events and stuff on it, making sure those kinds of events are on that, you know, so we can advertise those
All I've
kinds of
done
events.
recently is put like the Claflin Hill concert on Holliston Happy, just to give people a save the date
Yeah.
type thing, you know.
Okay.
And we put it on, because the town website, we have an events calendar there, and then we can also
Yeah,
put it-
that'll be
see
great.
if there's other places that we can put
Mhm.
these events to make sure that they're out there and celebrate Holliston and get them all tied together.
Have you tagged who will read the Declaration of Independence?
We're gonna have, Chris Kane is gonna be the MC.
That sounds.
He's got the revolutionary,
He has the-
outfit, and we're gonna take the, Independence, and split it up in 13 parts, and then have notables, luminaries from town, each take a part of it and read it.
Very nice.
Awesome. Sounds great.
This is giving, I hope, joy to you. For you. You seem very happy talking about it, so thank you for your efforts.
He's put a lot of
It sounds
Of course
like
he
it,
has.
yes.
It's so,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
he's done a lot of that, so Bobby, thank you, as always.
All right,
Thanks, Deb.
take care.
You too. All right,
Thanks.
Mr. Keast.
Coming with notes, too.
Ooh.
Possible to get it.
I'd also just quickly turn, while James is walking up, we have Stacia
Okay.
on the, excuse me, from the sewer commission is on the line as well.
Okay.
So James, I don't know where you want to start, but.
I was just in order on your list there, DPW facility update, downtown sewer update, and 9 Green Street update.
Sounds great.
And these are all tied to warrant articles? I think
Yes.
that's the
Mhm.
genesis of the conversation, right?
Yes.
So, obviously, the article for the DPW is going to be a debt override. We're currently working on refining the project cost estimates, which obviously are going to ultimately be the number that
Yeah.
ends up on the warrant.
Yep.
That's still in process.
Okay.
Um,
And the expectation is you'll be back next week to talk. They'll be back. The
They-
Weston Sampson
Weston
will be
Sampson
here
group
to
will be
talk
here.
to go through
Yes.
that in
Yes.
detail.
Yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Good.
Just as a matter of process, we're continuing to work through the design, and these are subtle changes in the design. Won't have a substantive impact on
Be
the
a
actual
material
project
or
costs.
something
Well,
subtle
it's
behind the scenes.
primarily a lot of resident feedback.
Oh,
So we've
yes.
talked directly with some of the direct abutters.
Yep.
And certainly have heard from folks along Arch Street.
Yes.
No one is against this project. They look at the DPW as
Yeah.
a good neighbor, and they've been in that area for many years. But there were some concerns about, positioning of parking lots and how the roadways would go. And so those all have been incorporated into a redesign.
Okay.
So part of the meeting next week could go over the revised plans as well.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
I think that would be good.
Great. And we want to emphasize that the feedback from the abutters is being heard and taken into consideration as we
Yeah,
make decisions.
absolutely. And so we feel that we've come up with some good design changes.
Okay.
And again, these aren't things that cost a lot of money to do, or if anything,
Yeah.
have no impact. It's just a matter of shifting things around.
Yeah,
So.
if it improves the quality of life for the people around there,
Yep.
absolutely, let's do it.
Yep. Just as a plug for HCAT, myself and Robert Walker are doing a Heartbeat of Holliston segment on Wednesday.
That's just a
Where-
plug for them.
Yeah, that's right. Not the host
Well,
or
I
the
understand, yes.
actors.
Sure.
And so
The talent.
the talent. Yeah, that's the
Talent,
better word.
talent.
So we'll be doing that. We'll also be talking about Goodwill Park, but as
Yeah.
it relates to the DBW facility. So it'll also be a chance to, show the residents through this segment the current conditions, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people haven't been down there, but this will be, shots,
Eye-opening.
eye-opening
Brilliant.
shots
Brilliant.
of the current conditions. So any questions on?
Did you say both facilities or just the?
We're just going to do the focus on the Arch Street. I
Okay.
mean, we could probably go over to Central, but
I think it's more of the same.
but I think it's more of the same, right? Any questions on DPW?
More to come.
More to come?
We're on track to meet our requirement for posting or getting a ballot question to
Yes, we
the
are.
clerk, and we're on track for a warrant article with time to present it to the community.
We have the
Yeah.
language, we just have highlighted X's where the dollars will be.
Yeah, and the big thing we're gonna wanna figure out,
Percentages.
make sure we have, a proposal for funding. And at
Yep.
that time, so we can make sure that, like, this is what it looks like, this is what it would be, this is how we're gonna fund it.
If I may, one quick question on that. So we're gonna do this on the 13th?
Yeah, next
Next
week.
Monday.
Next Monday is the 13th, yes.
Okay, I think having the finance committee and/or capital subcommittee
We'll invite them.
clued in to getting the same information that may be relevant to other conversations they will be having
Yep.
on cost and assumptions going into the debt borrowing.
I am on their calendar tomorrow evening, and this is one of the things I will be bringing up.
Okay.
Great. Next is downtown sewer. And Stacia, jump in if you'd like. But basically, the town has received $2.6 million in state and federal funding for this project. Overall project is estimated just under $7 million, so it's a great, great start. We're going to use that funding to do the improvements to the wastewater treatment plant, and I use the words improvements loosely, but it's really adding excess storage capacity at the plant, changing how some of the treatment process will operate. But that goal is to go out to bid within 30 days for that work and start the construction this summer for the pieces related to the plant.
Okay.
Also, concurrently, we're going out to, bid for formal design engineering of the collection system. So the plant obviously is going to treat it. We need the collection system for all 71 properties, collect the effluent and bring it to the plant.
Okay.
And that formal design really gets down to the minutia of this property, septic tank is right here, there's a big oak tree and a shed right here. How are we gonna route the pipe without disturbing, these things on the properties?
Gotcha.
So that is also beginning. The site surveying work is scheduled to happen within the next probably 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
Associated with that. Of course, the Sewer Commission is working very closely with Frank Gervasio to see if we can get additional, congressional directed spending, as well as our application for the one-stop grant program. We've had direct conversations with the folks in that program and you know, ask them to help us. What is the best way for us to leverage?
Yeah.
This is it. This is what we need to get over the finish line. How do we position ourselves to best get the full funding amount that we need
Okay.
to get this project done?
And at this point, the thing that we're waiting for is the funding for the project. That's and like also, and there's some administrative town manager, town meeting needs to approve elements of, you know, establishing a sewer.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Yeah, it's some of those things, but what I was just trying to make is like, you know, DEP has finished their part of the process and
Yes.
so there's like those kinds of licenses and permits on that side of things are complete. We're just looking at.
They're
you know,
complete. We
Okay.
have enough funding now to, as I said, do the necessary work to the plant, do the formal design level plans to bid, and we likely feel comfortable that we would have funding left over from this to start some of the construction
Okay.
as well.
Great.
And so, but to that point, with respect to the properties, you know, we have identified 71 properties within this sewer district. And
Yes.
At town meeting, there's an article to establish this district. And basically, we're just taking what is already designated as village commercial for downtown, and that will then become the
This-
boundaries of the
district.
sewer district. And what happens within that district, who's in, who's out, you know, who you know, wants to be part of the system and that type of thing, is governed and managed by the sewer commission.
Gotcha.
But town meeting needs to approve what the bounds of that district are. So that's the purpose of that article.
Gotcha. Yep.
In general, we've sent out easement requests because obviously we have to put pipes on people's property. We're taking ownership of their existing septic tank and those kinds of things. So we need an easement for that.
Yep.
We've sent those out. We've received several back, signed. We've received several questions, rightfully so, if I were a property owner in there. I have lots of questions, very good questions. We haven't had anything negative. Everyone is really excited and charged about this project, so
Okay.
it's very, very positive.
Is there any concern or overlap with potential water main replacements on Central Street for this? Or in any other water mains? The reason sort of I'm asking here is like, is there going to be potentially, you know, digging up certain things and then, you know, and there could be potential for, you know, sort of multiple occasions? We want to try to avoid that if
No, absolutely. So the beauty of this system is doesn't really sort of follow a traditional big pipe down the middle of the street approach. It's a cross-country route. So the effluent is carried on small 2 and 3 inch diameter pipes.
Okay.
Much like a oversized irrigation system, if you ever put an irrigation system in your house.
Sure.
So the machinery is like a ditch witch that will draw these pipes underground, and the goal is to stay out of the streets and go cross-country through people's property.
Okay.
You know, if we have to go into a sidewalk, we'll go into a sidewalk. But the big expense of a project like this would be digging up the street, and that's
Right.
what we want to avoid.
Good.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
any questions on that?
Exciting.
It is very exciting.
James,
Very exciting.
before we move on to the next item, do you just want to give a quick plug for when the next sewer commission meeting is, in case folks who are listening might want to have questions about their property?
No, absolutely. So the sewer commission meets, scheduled to meet the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. here in this room. It's also virtual. We've had some ad hoc meetings that we've had to put in there, but generally the third Thursday of every month.
Okay. So that's the Thursday? That's,
Yes.
so the April the 16th then?
Yeah. So Stacia, do you want to add anything? Stacia is a member of the sewer commission.
Yes. You don't have to if you don't want to, Stacia, but you're welcome to speak up if you have any comments here.
Just that James really is the talent. That was a great summary.
It's true. That's
I owe you
that's
a
what
beer.
we refer to him here and as well.
Simply the talent.
The talent.
Thanks, Stacia.
Thank you.
Next on the list is 9 Green Street. And the request here, again, is another warrant article to request additional funding for ongoing work for that property. And we say 9 Green Street, but it's really 9 Green Street and the surrounding downtown area.
Yeah.
You know, basically, It's no surprise that there's contaminants in the
Right.
soils there from prior industrial uses from many, many, many years ago. And it's been identified by the DEP as something that the town needs to address.
Yep.
And we're in basically a phased approach with the DEP. There are 5 phases. I don't know if you want to get into the details, but, initial is an investigation. Phase 2 is detailed mapping, if you will, of the contaminants on site. Phase 3 is what's the remedial action. And 4 is, basically implementing the plan. And 5 is just ongoing monitoring of that.
My main question about this is that how often do we have to do this, and for how long we have to do this kind of monitoring? Because so the reason I'm asking is that, like, we have, like, I brought this up to Frank before, is like we have a line item in the select board budget for testing at Marshall Street because we have ongoing testing there. And my question is that should this be a budget line item in the select board's budget like the Marshall Street?
Eventually.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're still in, basically, have started phase 2 of 5. When we get to phase 5,
Then we're doing
then we're going to do
All right,
the
that's fair.
monitoring, and then that can go into a budget. So right now,
Okay.
we're in phase 2. There are a number of monitoring wells.
Yep.
Fortunately, the EPA is involved with this as well, and I believe it was 2 summers ago, drilled several additional wells, downtown. So that's great. Doesn't cost the town anything.
I think I remember that because people were talking about the trucks that they still had and some of the stuff that they were leaving there. That
Yes,
for
yes.
too
yeah,
long.
Yeah,
But-
and so we still have more work to do on the phase 2.
Okay.
That's what this additional funding will achieve. We also, as part of the requirement, have to provide every 6 months status updates to the DEP.
Okay.
So our LSP, licensed site professional, is Connectco. Oliver Leak is our primary contact, and he's been doing a lot of the legwork associated with that. Of
Okay.
course, we have to pay for that fee.
What's the time scale between the phase 2 and the phase 5? What are we looking at there?
Years.
Great. Like
Years.
handful of years or like?
We'll probably not be right.
I suspect that this is probably a five-year.
I won't hold you to that. Just
Yeah,
wanted to-
but yeah.
5 years.
Orders of magnitude for my mind.
It's good to note, though, these things do come to an end.
Yes,
So
they do.
Factory
Yes.
Pond, we were doing dam assessment for that and
Yeah.
paying for that for a number of years.
That's
And
right.
we did come to the other side of it through an expensive, difficult process.
Right.
But these things do come to an end.
Yes, they do. There's obviously more work that needs to get done, and I think the real expense comes with the cleanup, and, there are grants, there's Superfund, I mean, there are all these things that help us with that. This work that's leading up to that point is basically our due diligence.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any other questions from the board
Oh, that was it for me.
for James?
Okay.
All right. Well, James,
Thank you.
for the updates, and
No
we'll
problem.
look forward to next week. We'll be
Oh, yeah.
talking
we'll
about
be,
DPW.
Holding our breath.
Thank you, James.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you for your time, Tony. All right. So now we're going back to 1A at 9:19.
I remember that.
Oh, boy. Discuss potential vote on select board's recommended budget. So Frank had sent out sort of the updates, the $49 net change.
Staggering.
And just kind of wanted to check in, because that's what we talked about in our previous meeting. Wanted to check in to see if everybody's comfortable with that, everybody's okay with how that looks and shakes out for a level 3 budget, and if there's any comments, questions. My hope, because I wanted to present to the finance committee tomorrow our level 3 budget and be able to walk through that with them, the changes that we've made.
I have high comfort. I'm eager to get their feedback. I know you've been trying to make sure that there are a lot of open doors for collaboration there.
Yes.
Hoping that they'll avail themselves of more of that.
Yes.
But yeah, the more collaboration, the better.
Dan, any thoughts, comments?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
It's tight. Tight in terms like we're not far off from the level 2,
Yeah.
which is not far off from the level 1. So I think it's been a strong
Yeah.
process throughout, and we've been well informed. So no, I don't have any comments.
Okay, so I'd like to take a motion to approve the level 3 budget as presented.
Okay, so moved.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And I had sent over some slides and a potential letter. If you have comments, maybe, we don't have to do them right now. You can send them through Frank. I would ask that you prioritize the slides because I want to present them tomorrow.
Okay.
Before the letter, and then the letter we can prioritize as necessary. But if you have a choice, look at the slides first.
Tell me where the slides are living.
I gave them to Frank, and
Did you say send those to Frank? Because I sent my recommendation.
you can send comments to me. That's fine. You
I
can
did
send it to
already.
they can.
Oh,
You
okay.
can.
I heard.
So any comments, any feedback, anything, it might be, but I'd just like to get those from you guys by tomorrow afternoon at the latest.
Okay.
And just to confirm, the level 3 recommendation includes reducing both the health insurance and Keith Tech budgets and giving money to HCAT for lack of better.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but yeah, when you get them, Tina,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
just take a look at them
Tomorrow
and
morning, yep.
prioritize the slides so I can present that to the finance committee tomorrow. And okay, so we'll move on from the budget. Talk about some warrant articles.
You want to just pull?
Yeah, let's just kind of go through the list.
Sounds good.
I think the two that we're probably not going to have, we still have to figure out are the main ones are the feasibility study and the DPW. But I think we should be able to have a pretty good sense of the others. I'd like to, even if it's not a vote tonight, I'd like to have a vote next week on as much of it as we can. Preferably the whole thing, if we can do that. But I recognize that there's a little bit of pencil sharpening about the feasibility, but at the same time, I'd like to have as much of it done as we can have.
Okay, so I think we've been through a lot of these, or some of these. I know we went through last week in more detail, but I'll just sort of read out their titles and stuff.
I just noticed you got a typo in the Article 3.
Article 3. Oh yeah. Clearly, I am not a graduate of the Holliston Public School system. Okay. All right. So we hear the reports of all 3 boards. Ben, based on the comments that you made at the last meeting on the revolving fund article, I added comments that note the 2 changes, one for Pinecrest, one for the building inspections revolving fund.
Great.
The amendment for the interest rate per annum, I'm not sure, is one that we do every year. Per state statute, we have to include that in the warrant each year. Articles 6 through...
Yeah, I think I'd like to, and I'll take it offline, but I'd like to sort of change the some of the comments on Article 6, but
okay.
I'd just like to tie up some of those, but we can take that offline.
Sure, okay. So you and I can touch base on those before Monday?
Yeah, we can touch base maybe later this week and talk through some of those things. And we kind of talked about, was it Article 13? Is that the one we just talked about with the assessors tonight?
It might be a little... 14. Yep.
14, okay.
Yep. So this, the version that's in the draft warrant right now is the most up-to-date version.
Okay.
So that gets us to Article 15. I did remove the sustainability invoice, finding that we had roughly $30,000 in the sustainability revolving fund. I think we would want to keep as much money within our operating budget for fiscal '26. Even though I know it's $5,000, it's a relatively small amount, but knowing that we're going to be likely searching for money for snow and ice costs, or at least having as much money available to us that we could transfer from our operating budget to snow and ice. So I did remove that one.
Okay.
But fortunately, the chief does have room within his operating budget to pay for the town of Medway's invoices for those intercept services. Any questions on the prior year bills?
Nope.
Okay. The wage and classification plan, again, we do this every year.
Yep.
The change being for the
COLA.
The COLA.
Yep.
the fiscal year 27 budget.
Yep.
So now we'll update the website with the level 3 information.
Yep.
So that can be tracked. As Ben mentioned, this is one that I suppose could change. This is the transfer into the capital expenditure fund.
Yep.
This will obviously impact what's available for the following article, which is the capital budget article. So the highlighted items were the school department's items that were sort of briefly touched on tonight.
Yep.
It sounds like the school committee may be going back and revising some of those, so I've highlighted them in yellow.
Okay.
So we'll see maybe after Thursday, and obviously by the time you meet on Monday.
Yeah, we can revisit this one
Yep.
on Monday.
Yep.
I think we can put this in the list.
We do have a couple of water retained earnings
Yep.
requests as well. The Finance Committee's Capital Subcommittee is meeting again on Thursday
Okay.
to round out their review of these items. James just touched on the article for 9 Green Street.
Mhm.
Oh, come on. Did I skip one? Okay, sorry about that. My computer froze. The next is a $10,000 appropriation from free cash for a department head class and compensation study.
Mhm.
Obviously, with all the conversation about department head salaries, both Cheryl and I felt that this would be approved next step so that any potential future changes would be tied back to actual.
And I think,
independent
you know,
analysis.
I think this is something we should be doing ongoing, regularly.
Yes.
It should be a regular engagement to do this, whatever the cadence is, but it is something that should be ongoing.
I think, yeah, what Cheryl and I found was that there was last comp study done in 2020, was it 2023 or 2022?
It was 2022, but it was not for this group. It was
Right.
for the 1 to 600 chart.
So we think next time, we'll get the department heads done this time, and then the next time we do this, we'll just sort of do the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, and whatever the cadence is, but I think we should have a regular cadence for the department heads and for the.
Agreed, it's actually in the bylaws.
Yeah,
And it
so we
says
need to
no
be doing
less
it.
than no less than 5 minutes.
Financial support for HCAT, so this was obviously just supported in the level 3 vote that the select board took just moments ago. CPC, this is a final list at this point. The Open Space Committee is no longer pursuing, well, I shouldn't say that. The Open Space Committee is not anticipating the purchase of a piece of the Jasper Hill, 52 Jasper Hill, for this May town meeting. It sounds like the negotiations are still ongoing. So that will not be an additional CPC request for May, perhaps in the fall. I know the negotiations between the committee and the parcel owner are ongoing.
When you do the skull session, Ben and Frank, with the town moderator
Yep.
and the chairs of the school committee and finance committee, we haven't seen a CPC article with this level of diversity among the funding requests. Having the town moderator and town council discuss how to handle pointed comments on any one project, so as not to jeopardize the total article. So just having a plan, I would just ask that that's discussed in that
Sure.
school head meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That everyone's prepared to, if needed, break this article up for conversation purposes, deliberation purposes.
Sure.
Because
And-
I could see an indefinite postponement.
In the past, we've also
Potential.
done bigger ones we've broken out. We did that with Goodwill Park.
Oh, okay.
Because, and we might want to see if that's the right thing for like the bike park, because to that point, I think most of them, the smaller ones, I don't think are really going to be something, but the bike park might need to be separate.
Okay.
But we can explore it, because I think it just like, if it's going to generate some more conversations than the others, then it might be a better idea to have it as a separate article.
Sure.
The bike park folks, they have done a tremendous amount of outreach, and I do believe they'll be in the lobby at town meeting. I think
Sure.
that's part of their plan. So it should be, I'm assuming there'll be a pretty well-informed town meeting voter that walks in, but there is a lot of diversity here among the projects, so.
Okay.
However, to strategize,
Sure.
productive deliberation would be good.
Good, okay. Okay.
DPW we just talked about. This is the one
Yep.
I was saying we have all the language, just
Yep.
all the X's are in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually, and just today, James, Chris, and I we're doing some brainstorming with all the different spreadsheets up on the screen, so at this point, we're just waiting for the numbers.
Okay.
And we'll have a plan to bring to the board at your next meeting.
Okay.
The high school construction project feasibility study
Yep.
is the $2.5 million that we discussed with the
Yep.
school committee earlier. Obviously, that one, the funding method's still TBD.
Yep.
Sewer district creation, so this basically says that everything that is the village commercial district is also the sewer district.
Mhm.
The meets and bounds will be the same. Road acceptance, Constitution Village, which we just had the public hearing for a couple hours ago. The next two are about kennel bylaw updates that basically make the town's bylaws consistent with one another, both the general bylaws and the zoning bylaws, and also consistent with state statute. This one was actually not flagged in time for the planning board to hold or for them to vote on formally sponsoring it, so they've asked that we take a formal vote to sponsor each of these
Okay.
bylaws. I think that came up at the,
Okay.
when I was out at the beginning of the month.
Okay.
So, if the board wouldn't mind taking a formal vote to sponsor those, so we can volley that back to the
Sure.
planning board, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, so it's 28 and, is it 27, 28, or 28 and 29?
It's 28 and 29.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, we'll do that at the end, once we get through.
Okay.
We can do that.
Article 30 and 31 are both easements for the 52 Jasper Hill property, both for stormwater access and utilities. These all have been, these two have been drafted by town council and reviewed and approved by the counterparties council as well. Just to sort of recap that saga, even though the intention, or at least, what has been discussed to date for that property is to maintain the residence as a single-family home with potential for, an ADU. It was discovered during the buyer's due diligence that the single-family home easement was never actually recorded at the Registry of Deeds, so it doesn't actually exist. While the last development that was proposed needed a new easement, there was an assumption that there was an underlining existing easement for a single-family home. That is actually not the case. So it's a little bit of a housekeeping item, I guess.
Gotcha.
And then speaking of easements, we have one more for Norfolk Street drainage.
Okay.
These would be improvements, part of the infrastructure improvements that are being made right now.
Okay.
So this is Sean Reese and the engineers working on the team have requested this to take place in May.
Okay.
Quick question on this, has there been outreach to residents that this will impact?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe it's 3 different properties. So they've gotten the sort of the okay from those different property owners.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can get you the numbers.
No, just wanting to make sure that
It's
there's,
right there. There's 4.
Oh.
135, 115,
Oh, yeah.
629, and 340.
Yeah.
okay, and we've been in communication with them,
Sure.
we understand that
Yeah.
they understand the situation, okay.
Okay.
And that's
awesome.
that.
All right, are both of you comfortable with voting to sponsor 28 and 29 for the kennels?
I am personally, yes.
Okay.
Move to sponsor
Yeah.
Articles 28 and 29 within the May 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 I had 3 on my list to talk about next week, which was the capital article, the DPW, and the feasibility study. Does anybody else have any that we want to review next week?
The feasibility study for the schools specifically.
Correct.
Okay, just one.
Correct. Do you have any others that you?
Do you mean review to vote for inclusion?
So what, no, like, we would go through in more detail because we don't have all the like, basically what I'm getting at is that those 3 I would take out, but I think everything else, and this is what I'm asking, is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And everybody's comfortable with those. We don't have to take a formal vote, but I would like to be able to say that, just those 3 really need, the select board needs some more information, and it's mostly just like trying to get some details in there.
My one comment would be numbering, but we can have this conversation down the road.
Yeah, well, I
On
think
the
we can go into
13th.
more detail next week, especially like let's look at the CPC if we want to split that article out. And then, we can look at numbering and make sure that it's right before we take a formal vote.
Teaser, I think we should move 24 up,
Which one's 24?
DPW.
Just earlier.
Earlier in the meeting, we can talk about it. Let's figure out what the right flow is.
Teaser.
To do it, and then, we can get that, figured out. So, okay, so those are the three that I have. Does anybody else have any for next week that they want to talk about?
I think those will be plenty of meat. I don't know, Tina, you?
Yeah, there'll be plenty to talk about. I'm also saying this too because I wanted to sort of make sure I did this because I do have to go. But everything else is mostly just standard business, so I can walk away. Okay. I don't think we need to take a vote tonight on anything else. We voted on the budget, but we'll just go through in more detail on those three and make sure that we're comfortable with everything next week. And I'd like to be able to get as close to a vote next week as possible.
Got it.
And on those. I think we have to have the DPW because in order to be on the ballot, it
Yeah.
needs to be ready by, I think it's the 15th, so I don't think we have a lot of runway there. So, I don't think we need a vote, but I gotta go, I got a jet,
Yeah.
so it's getting late, and then, everything else I think is just standard business.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So you guys should be okay.
Yeah, we should be all right.
Thanks, Ben. You're not
you.
going to
You
hear
said-
my other business comment for you, but that's okay.
It's for me?
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
compliment. It's okay.
Okay.
I'll share.
You want to hold it? All right.
Let me know.
All right. So-
Good night.
So I think that brings us to warrants, yes? Or do we have anything
night,
else outstanding?
Let's,
Public
maybe
comment?
public comment?
Public comment, yes. All right. All right, let's move to public comment. Let's see, anyone here presently want to contribute to the public comment? Otherwise, we'll move to online. Seeing nothing, anyone online want to contribute to public comment? Going once, going twice? No public comment, moving on. All right. Jumping around.
Select board member updates.
Let's see. Tina, any select board member updates?
Two real quick, in my role as chair, clerk, not chair, excuse me. I'm reading chair. It is clerk.
Ben's not even dead yet.
Yeah, I know. I know. Did you see that? Just
I know,
slid
it's just
right
like-
into the chair. In my role as clerk, I would just say that we did get, we were contacted over the week by Mr. Brinster, who came to public comment a week or two ago. He's asking for an update. I'm just going to elevate that up. I'm sure you and Ben will figure out.
Was that the farming
Yes, this was,
situation?
yes, the call for a response to enforcement, but also zoning. I believe the ask was for a holistic approach, but his specific public comment was reaching out as I've not heard it back in 2 weeks. And you have said that in a couple days of my statement, I'd be hearing something. So just elevating that as an outstanding item for the board to loop back all around with Mr. Brinster on. And Frank and I met this past week about the e-bike policy. We are nearing the end, and
Yes.
we'll have something for the board in April or early May to review, just for changes to traffic rules and regulations.
Excited to hear about that, actually.
That's it for me.
Great. No updates on my end, so we can move briskly along. I believe we're up to warrants at this point.
Yes, so I have one warrant for you tonight. It is it was signed March 30th, 2026, an amount totaling $1,246,279.77.
Sure it's 77 cents? Just want to make sure.
Yep.
We're on a tight ship around here. Great. Thank you very much. Comments from the town manager?
I will keep it brief, but I just want to announce a couple of save the dates to start. The select board will be meeting next on April 13th, which is outside of your normal schedule, to finalize the town meeting warrant. The town meeting will take place on May 11th at the high school, beginning at 7 p.m. Please arrive a few minutes early to allow time for check-in. The annual town election will take place on May 19th. Voting also takes place at the high school. Among offices up for election, it is also expected that the DPW project will also be on the ballot. The DPW project will also be discussed in depth at the April 13th Select Board meeting. Stay tuned for other public engagement opportunities on this topic and for an upcoming HCAT feature on the conditions of the existing buildings. As a reminder, the deadline to register to vote for town meeting and the annual town election is May 1st at 5 p.m. For questions about the DBW project, please feel free to contact the town manager's office. And for more information on voter registration, please contact the town clerk's office. As announced at the last select board meeting, a number of town staff and volunteers are pleased to announce Holliston's first annual Holliston History Day, which this year will take place at Blair Square on the afternoon of May 2nd. This year's focus will be on the history of the railway in Holliston and the evolution of the rail trail as we know it. So far, we have 2 businesses in town that will be offering special promotions that day at their locations, and representatives from the town will also be on hand to inform residents about the upcoming town meeting and opportunities to volunteer in local government. If you are a small business owner interested in participating in the day's events, please contact the town manager's office. Before ending, I just want to give a special shout out to Donna Muzzy, who we all know actually runs the town of Holliston. Last week celebrated her 24th year working for the town of Holliston. Many thanks to Donna and all that she does for the town.
Remarkable.
That is the town manager update for April the 6th. As stated previously, the select board will meet next on April 13th at 7 p.m. to finalize the town meeting warrant and learn more about the DPW project.
Tina, any questions for town manager?
None at all, thank you.
I have one brief follow-up, but maybe it's better for the clerk, but believe the signing up for various elections at this point is closed.
It's closed.
As far as you're aware, are there any positions for which we do not have enough candidates to fill full slates?
To my knowledge, there are 2 people running for. There is 1 person running for 2 finance committee positions, and
Although we may be expecting a write-in candidate potentially there.
okay,
Yeah.
and there was 1 more. That was the housing. It was the housing authority. The housing authority. We also had a 1 person running for re-election did not get their papers back.
All right, excellent. Thank you for the update on that. I
You are
appreciate
welcome.
it. And then moving along to approval of one-day liquor licenses. For the clerk, I think we have to handle each of these individually, or?
They're called out separately, is that how you'd like to do it? No consent agenda for this?
I was advised by Donna Muzzy that we cannot do that, so.
All right, well.
I think you're okay to just say.
As presented.
As presented?
Okay. Move to approve each of the 4 one-day liquor licenses, Bonfet, beer and wine liquor, each of the 3, Bonfet, beer and wine liquor, and Bonfet is 1, Lions Club is the 2nd, and the Lions Club is the 3rd. So a motion to approve all 3 as presented.
Seconded. Let's take a vote.
Yes?
Yes. So passed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to board business, it is a consent agenda, Madam Clerk.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented this evening.
Seconded. Let's take the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so done. Moving on to other business.
2 real quick things. My comment that Ben will now miss, but hear later, is that I genuinely and generously appreciate his comments earlier when we had the school committee at the table, and he was asking them to engage with the select board, particularly on the capital expenditure requests. I think that's exactly where the deliberation should be, that the select board manages and presents the warrant. And so again, the select board table between the school committee and the select board is where that deliberation is best served, in my opinion. So I appreciated him calling on that. The finance committee serves as an advisory role when the select board has presented the warrant with the deliberation that we've done on it. So I thought it was a really appropriate and good grounding comment, and I think it was appreciated by those that received it. So I see that as moving the conversation in a productive way. Again, glad that Ben made that comment for the benefit of everybody. Second thing, completely unrelated, ribbon cutting for Goodwill Park. So when Bobby Blair shared the procession from Goodwill Park where the game's going to be played down into my neighborhood in Mudville, I thought, when are we doing the ribbon cutting, and is this an opportunity? So I just put that on the radar to be thinking about how to coordinate with Parks and Rec if they're interested on a ribbon cutting event. I heard May 16th for that baseball game, which will come up super fast and in the middle of, I don't know, town meeting and town election, but maybe there's some interest there in doing something.
I think they are planning a ribbon cutting of sorts. I'm not exactly sure on the date.
Okay.
But I will double check with Mark Frank.
Okay, maybe let them know that there's a game happening
Yes,
that day.
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mine is related and also similarly brief. I also wanted to recapitulate that I think Ben has been doing an excellent job opening up the conversations in the appropriate ways, especially considering that we are really engaging very quickly in a fiscally tense situation as so many more questions about finance will start hitting us. The answer is to have many more open conversations to make sure there's a lot of daylight, something that I think as a project is something we should all be engaging in. So hopefully we can continue that, and I will encourage personally, privately, and publicly, members of all the committees to engage in a much more robust conversation. Openly, I think in public light is always the best way to go. There's going to be a lot of conversations, potential misunderstandings, being very open about our points of view, but also being a bit humble about what we know and don't know is probably the right step forward. So that's all I'll say. That's it for other business. I think I'll accept a motion.
So moved to close at 9:45.
Seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Good night, Holliston.